Good evening. We'll go ahead and call the Planning Commission meeting to order. Commissioner Pratt, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Abdullah, can I please have roll call?
Chair Lisa,
Present.
Vice Chair Quayle, Commissioner Daly,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia,
Present.
Commissioner Galande,
Present.
Commissioner Pratt,
Present.
Commissioner Carloni,
Here.
and Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Here.
Thank you. A 3-minute limitation shall apply to each member of the public who wishes to address the Planning Commission on any item on the agenda, excluding public hearings. There is not a limit to the number of items that may be discussed within the 3-minute time limit. Ms. Abdullah, can I please have the administration of oath for our public speakers?
Public speakers, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this body will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you. You may be seated.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on a matter that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and move to our consent calendar. Consent items are routine in nature and may be enacted in one motion. All public and non-public hearings will be open at one time. Any item may be discussed separately upon the request of a member of the Planning Commission or a member of the public. Are there any updates to the consent calendar by staff?
Madam Chair, there are no updates. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on a consent calendar item? I have an item for number 2. I believe that's a consent item.
Madam Chair, number 2 is public hearing.
Oh, my apologies. You're correct. Thank you. Do I have anybody who wishes to speak on the consent calendar? If not, can I entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Daly. Can we have roll call, please?
Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Sorry. Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni?
Yes.
And Commissioner Orlando Garcia?
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. The Planning Commission will first hear a report from staff, and then the next public hearing will be open. The applicant will have an opportunity to speak. Next, members of the public will be allowed to speak. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak must be sworn in and fill out a request to speak form. The forms are located on the table near the door. When your name is called, come forward and speak your name into the microphone. Say and spell your name for the taped record. After all have spoken, the applicant will be allowed to respond. The public hearing will then be closed, and Planning Commission will begin deliberations and make a decision. All decisions except general plan amendments and municipal code amendments are final actions unless an appeal is filed, and fees paid within 15 days to the Community Development and Housing Department. If you challenge the resulting action of the Planning Commission in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described in this agenda or in written correspondence delivered to the Community Development and Housing Department or at or before the public hearing. I'll go ahead and call up item number 2.
Good evening, Chair, Commission. My name is Deborah Martinez. I am here to present item number 2 for conditional use permit 2511 and public public convenience or necessity 2506 for property located at 1950 South Waterman. The applicant is requesting to obtain a new ABC Type 21 off-sale general license for the existing service stations with a current convenience store. The applicant currently holds a Type 20 off-sale beer and wine license. This site is located at 1950 South Waterman Avenue at the southwest corner of South Waterman Avenue and East Hospitality Lane. The site is currently 0.42 acres, which is 18,565 square feet. The parcel in which this property lies is currently zoned CR3, which is Commercial Regional Tri-City Club. As you can see in this map, oh, thank you. I did not know that. So where the project site arrow is at, you would see an area outlined in black, which is the subject site, which again is at the corner of South Waterman and East Hospitality. As you can see from the zoning map, this parcel is surrounded by other CR3 properties, which include commercial uses, hospitality uses, and whatnot. This is an existing picture of the site which staff took about approximately a week ago. This is the current site plan of the site. As you can see, there is an existing convenience store of approximately 1,580 square feet. There are off-street stalls along the north side of the parcel. The service stations are located on the east. This is the existing floor plan of the site, which identifies the current location and storage and display of alcohol, as well as just the current layout. So the project originally obtained the Type 20 license, or the subject site obtained the Type 20 license back in January of 2009. The current operator is Chevron, and they have been in operation of this location since 2019. And in 2021, the operator was able to obtain the Type 20 and take over that license. Per ABC, the current operator has had no issues with the license. So the current hours of operation of the service station, it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can pull up and pump gas. The convenience store, however, is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. The operator does not propose any changes to the hours of operation or the service station. The location currently employs 7 employees. Currently, this site does have 16-channel DVR surveillance, which holds footage up to 2 months. In addition to that, 8 of the cameras are located within the existing convenience store. They also currently have a uniformed security guard on site that is on site during the hours the convenience store is open. In addition to that, they also have 2 panic buttons within the convenience store, which is connected and monitored by Bay Alarm and the San Bernardino Police Department. So this location is located within the Census Tract 0124, which does allow for 2 off-sale of licenses. Currently, that census tract has 15 active off-sale licenses. Therefore, because of the oversaturation, they are required to apply for a PCN. The police department did go ahead and review this application, and they provided information that the average crime rate for a reporting district within the city is 70.97. This location specifically within the census tract has a crime rate of 39, which is below the city average. As you can see from the table there. And just keep in mind that the police department does not make any kind of recommendations for a project. So, as part of the review, staff is required to evaluate the project for its location, how close it is to sensitive uses per 500 feet. For this location, there is nothing within the 500 feet. This includes any schools, public parks, playground, places of worship, or hospitals. As you can see from the table, the closest church is well over the 500, as well as hospitals. In addition to that, the code also requires us to review if there's any other ABC license for off sales within 500. However, the code also does exempt service stations from meeting this requirement. As you can see, there is a gas station right across. You can see in this slide, which is one right before last, which is right across the street. But again, per the exemption from the code, they do not need to meet that requirement. So again, in this, you're able to see the name of the operator, the location, the type of the land use, and the distance from the current site. Okay. So in this map, you're able to see at the bottom right corner in blue is the existing Chevron station. Right across the street is the red. Hopefully you can see that. The red star is a type 20 beer and wine, which, as you can see, this specific census tract is very large. Majority of the alcohol licenses for off sale are very scattered throughout that parcel map. The census tract. The star in red, yellow, is a type 21 general. So it is staff recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-058, therefore approving conditional use permit 25-11 and public convenience or necessity 2506, allowing the request for an alcoholic beverage control license upgrade from a type 20 off-sale beer and wine to a type 21 off-sale general license, and finding the project exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 15301, for existing facilities, which is a Class 1 categorical exemption. This does conclude my presentation. I am available for any questions, and the business owner is also here and available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:14 p.m. And I have one speaker, Mr. Mario. Is it Mario? Marco. Excuse me, Marco. Yes. And your last name? Luca. Yes. You wanted to speak? Yeah, I wanted to speak. If you could come to the microphone, please.
Sure. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out to be here today. Hello. Thank you guys for taking the time for being here today. I really appreciate you holding this meeting. I wanted to ask if there's any questions that you guys have for me in regards to approving this application.
Is there any questions by the commission? No? Go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
I had one question regarding the security. Does your security system, I forget what the police department, they have a program in place where they can tap into your security cameras. What is the name, Gabriel Allard, if someone can help me out?
Yeah, that's a question I had for staff as well.
Commissioner Garcia, I don't recall what that name is, but we can get it for you.
But does the security system match what PD has?
Well, I suppose the requirement for the applicant is to make sure that the system is compatible. So that might be another step that he may have to take to make sure that that security system is accessible by the police department. So we can look into that.
So I guess my only question to the applicant, would you be willing to allow city police department to access your security system?
Yeah, if it's a condition to get the application approved, then yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any further question? No? I just want to confirm with staff that that is a condition. Okay.
It is a
Perfect.
condition in there.
Thank you so much. If there's no other questions or public comments, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Did you have anything? Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, if I wanted to, if I have questions about the conditions, or if some of them could be removed or edited, would that just be me and Deborah?
No, that this would be the time for
This would be the time?
Yes.
Okay, great,
Time.
if you don't mind. Item number 12, the signage under the conditions, planning division would be page 7. I want to ask if I'm allowed to put a now selling liquor banner, if it is approved?
So any banners would have to be reviewed separately from this, and they're required to go through that. But I'll have to double check whether the banners for promoting the alcohol.
Yeah, it's just a temporary thing.
Yeah, I'll have to double check on the code whether or not that's something that is permitted per the code, but that could be evaluated separately from this manner.
Okay, no worries. Item, that would be 19F. Yes, 19F. It says landscaping. Is there any specific landscaping that I need to do? Or is it just maintaining the current landscaping that I have?
So after staff reviewed the site, there was some areas that were sparse and needed additional landscaping. So staff is requesting just additional landscaping to cover
Just more
those
green.
areas. I'm sorry?
Just more green, basically?
Pretty much.
Cool. Okay. Item number I, in regards to the demolition permit to demolish the existing unpermitted storage structure located behind the convenience store and trash enclosure prior to the beginning of the sale of alcohol. So the storage, I remember we spoke a little bit about that. I would like to ask if this item could be removed because the storage is less than 120 square foot. And from the codes that I was able to find, it is permitted. And then also the trash, I'm not sure which trash, because we have two different, there's the main trash enclosure that was permitted where my dumpsters are. Then there's an other one that we need for AQMD. So I wasn't sure which one it was.
It's identifying the trash enclosure, which is right next to the self-storage structure.
The circle one? Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
I have a picture. I can go ahead and send that to you after.
Okay, would I be able to ask for that one to be removed? Is that possible?
So is the unpermitted storage structure, is it unpermitted?
Yes, the staff was unable to locate any permits for that structure.
And it's, the size requires the permit?
Madam Chair, if the structure is less than 120 square feet, a permit is not required. So I don't know what the dimensions of the structure are, but if it's less than 120 square feet, no permits are required. Now, it might be in a state of disrepair or anything of that nature. She is the planner on the project. She has the eyes on the ground, but as far as size is concerned, a permit is not required if it's less than 120 square feet.
Okay. We're going to give the planner a couple minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a question for you, brother. Is that structure, I'm familiar with the property. Is it the storage space that is at the southwest back corner of the
Yeah,
building?
it's behind the building. We
Yeah.
just use it for shelves.
Okay.
Because we don't have a lot of back room in the, so we just use it for extra shelves when we need to go in and out.
Okay,
That's all that's really used for.
thanks.
So we can go ahead and remove condition I.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns, Marco?
One last one, thank you guys.
Yeah?
Just to confirm that I'm reading this one correctly, 28G, beer or malt liquor sold individually in containers over 40 ounces or less is prohibited. So I'm allowed to sell beer at a 40 ounce or up? That's completely fine.
If we could have staff verify that.
Madam Chair, the answer is yes. And I tell you why. It may not seem logical, but the whole idea is you don't find too many alcohol containers that are over 40 ounces. There are a few, but the whole point is to discourage the consumption of single bottle or single cans of alcohol. So.
That's exactly why I'm asking.
Okay.
So
Because
just,
I want to be completely sure.
so just to be clear, it says 40 or less is prohibited. So if it's 40, it's prohibited. If it's 39, it's prohibited. Starting at 41 and higher, then it's allowed.
Hold on, did you say that 40 and under is not allowed, but over 40 is allowed? Is that what I heard? You can buy a 40, you can't buy
Yeah,
a
the condition
44.
reads, beer or malt liquor sold individually in containers of 40 ounces or less is prohibited.
So it's a
I don't
single-
know if they make individuals that of
Okay,
41
so,
or more.
so,
but-
so 40 and then like,
Your microphone.
so like a 40 and then like a tall can and all of that individually sold would be prohibited, but I mean, that kind of clears out everything else really, because to your point, they don't sell, gallon-sized beers.
So are you clear?
Yeah, so Heineken does sell a mini keg. I don't know if you guys have seen those, Bevmo, and so that is allowed.
Yes?
That would be allowed based on our current code.
Okay?
Yeah.
I have no further questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions by the commission? Nope, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:24 PM and entertain a motion.
I'll move staff's recommendation.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Can I have roll call, please? Or tally call?
Commissioner Daly? Oh, sorry, you already went, right?
I thought you would start with.
Oh, sorry, Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Sorry, Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
No.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni?
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia?
Yes.
I just want to confirm that the staff's approval is removing condition I, the storage shed.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Vote passes 6 out of 7.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3.
All right, good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public. You'll have to bear with me, I'm getting over a cold. My name is Angeline Mendoza, and I will be presenting item number 3, Conditional Use Permit 25-17. Conditional Use Permit 25-17 is the request to modify a previously approved conditional use permit 15-02 and an existing 2,800 square foot convenience store. It's located on the northwest corner of North Waterman Avenue and East 5th Street on a parcel containing approximately 0.64 acres. The parcel itself is zoned commercial general, CG1, and as previously stated, this activity was originally approved on April 15th, 2015 under CUP 15-02. Here we have the surrounding context of the map. We do see similarly zoned parcels of CG1, some residential, and part of our sphere of influence with the county. Here we see an aerial map of current site conditions, again showing the nearby residential, commercial, Succombe Lake, and that county, those county pockets. Conditions of the existing site were confirmed. The site is located in Census Tract 58.00. It has 2 active off-sale licenses and allows for 3 off-sale licenses. The site is located in a high crime area, but staff would like to reiterate that the request is not for a new alcohol license. It's not for any upgrade. It is to modify a condition since the conditions that were imposed when it was originally approved in 2015 are not the same as contemporary industry standards to this day. So the request that we have here for the modification under CUP 25-17 pertains to existing condition number 17E under condition which currently prohibits containers of beer or malt liquor not in their original factory packages of 6 packs or greater. The applicant is proposing the modification to instead prohibit containers of beer or malt liquor not in their original factory multi-packs. To be clear, the applicant is not seeking to sell singles. There is a separate condition as part of the original entitlement that is still staying. This modification does not pertain to that. This is a site plan as approved under the original entitlement where the gas station, the convenience store, was being developed. And here's the current floor plan that they are not seeking to change at all. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-050, finding the project exempt pursuant to section 15301, existing facilities, in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act. We also recommend approving conditional use permit 25-17 to modify previously approved conditional use permit 15-02, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. This item was properly noticed and was continued to a date certain to December 9th, our hearing tonight, and the applicant and I are here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Madam Chair, before you go into any discussions, let me just give you in layman's terms what this whole thing is about. The last item you had to do with alcohol containers. There was a time in our code where we limited the sale of alcohol beverages to 6-packs. At that time, only 6-packs were being produced by the manufacturers. Today, they are producing 4-packs and they're producing 2-packs. The point of this is the code doesn't want people to buy single cans of beer so they can drive. Now, they can buy a keg, but you're going to need special tools to be able to open a keg, and you can't do that while you're driving. So what we are trying to do is to bring our code to what is real. These vendors are stuck with these archaic conditions. Here is Heineken providing them with 4-pack cans, sealed, factory condition, and they can't sell it because the code says only 6-pack. So basically, that's what this is about. Thank you.
Understand, thank you. And we had an updated resolution?
Yes, so staff would also like to note that a updated resolution was provided to the commissioners and members of the public, changing finding number 8. I believe I do have to read this in verbatim to read it into the record. All right, so finding of fact is now going to read as the sale of beer and wine under a Type 20 off-sale beer and wine license is permitted in the commercial general CG1 zone subject to the approval of a conditional use permit. Although the project site is located in a reporting district with high crime statistics in accordance with studies from the police department, it has been operating as an existing convenience store with a Type 20 beer and wine license since the original approval under conditional use permit 15-02. As part of the original entitlement, a finding of public convenience or necessity was made. The approval to the modification of existing conditions will not increase the number of licenses or introduce a new use to the area. As such, the project will continue to serve as a public convenience or necessity. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:33. I have no speaker slips, so if the applicant or owner wishes to speak. Please state your name into the microphone for the record.
Yes, my name is Abdul Samad Gill, and I'm the franchisee owner for the 7-Eleven, 510 North Waterman.
Do you have any comments that you would like? Go ahead and turn your microphone back on.
Well, when the condition was imposed, there was no 3-packs, or the smaller size was 6-pack. And after that, manufacturers pre-packaged 3-pack introduced the high demand of the customers that still discourage the single sell, and it does not allow any loitering and other intoxicated related issue selling a 3-pack. They're still discouraging the single sell.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions by the commission? If there's no comments or questions, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:34 and entertain a motion by the commission. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution.
To adopt staff's recommendation?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh,
I'm sorry, who was our second? Okay. Chair Sherrick?
yes.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni?
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia?
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 4.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. This item before you is an item that will be going forward to the City Council, but we need Planning Commission recommendation. Now, this item is nothing new to the Planning Commission. You've taken action on this before. It is regarding short-term rentals. At the time the Planning Commission took action on this, the request was to provide a program whereby short-term rentals will be approved. Ultimately, when that item was taken before the City Council, we came back with a resounding no, go and ban short-term rentals. So the presentation you're going to see this evening relates to the ban of short-term rentals, and I would also like to read a modification to the resolution where it reads, the Planning Commission of the Mayor of the City and of the City of San Bernardino is just a Planning Commission, so we delete any reference to the Mayor or City Council in that resolution. So we'll have an updated resolution for you. So just chronologically, on December 12, 2023, Planning Commission by a unanimous resolution adopted Resolution 2023-043, forwarding a recommendation to the Mayor and City Council to approve Development Code Amendment 2301. This code amendment would amend Section 19.02050 definitions, and also Chapter 19-04 residential zones to establish a short-term rental program in the City of San Bernardino. On February 21, 2024, we took forward that recommendation to the Mayor and City Council for adoption of a regulatory scheme for short-term rentals. At that meeting, the City Council directed staff to conduct additional analysis on enforcement measures and the effects of short-term rental program on the city's housing market. On June 5, 2024, when the item was brought back to the City Council as directed, the Council, by a narrow majority, banned short-term vacation rentals in the city and requested staff bring back an enforcement plan. To give you a little background, I guess maybe your handouts are probably better than looking at the tiny screen. The City of San Bernardino does not currently have an ordinance that expressly regulates short-term rentals and has experienced the negative effects of excessive noise, parking problems, and discarded trash on surrounding properties, resulting in numerous complaints, creating a threat to public interest, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the community. San Bernardino has received numerous complaints from residents about residents leasing their residential properties to travelers or for weekend retreats as short-term vacation rentals. Common complaints assert that rentals cause conditions that degrade the quality of the residential neighborhoods. The city's municipal code does not specifically address short-term vacation rentals. However, a commercial use is generally prohibited in residential zones unless specifically permitted. Because the San Bernardino Municipal Code does not expressly prohibit short-term vacation rentals, the issue of the San Bernardino Municipal Code's intent is disputed by residential property owners who wish to lease to tourists and other retreatants for short stays. So with a ban in place, the city would no longer need to rely on various interrelated code provisions that together proscribe vacation rentals. The city would adopt and implement specific revisions to the municipal code that would ban short-term vacation rentals outright in residential zones. A clear prohibition would be more effective in deterring violations because it would create less confusion among homeowners. A ban would not alter the municipal code's current implicit characterization of short-term rentals as inconsistent with the city's residential land use regulations. So to effectively ban short-term rentals, the city would first need to identify those properties that are currently engaged in short-term rental activities and officially notify them of the ban. In that effort, the city has engaged the services of a group called Data Technologies. This is a company that utilizes data science to assist local governments in managing compliance activity and enforcement such as short-term rentals. Data Technologies would use Rentalscape platform to accurately track activity within the city of San Bernardino to identify the exact addresses of the STR listings within city limits. However, there are costs associated with this service. It could cost anywhere from $7,500 annually to $16,500, and it will be a renewal of that service. So per section 3.55-020A, each transient is subject to and shall pay a transient lodging tax in the amount of 10% of the room rental charged by the operator. So the discussion here is whether or not the city, with the ban on short-term rentals, would have the ability to assess TOTs on these uses. But in order for us to do that, we have to identify who they are. In order for us to do that, we have to pay money. Now, bear in mind that the whole premise of banning this was because enforcement activities would be too much. We're spending money chasing after these bad actors. On the other side of things, we also have to spend money to find out who is currently doing it on a regular basis, and then decide whether or not we can assess transient occupancy taxes to these properties. It will be 10% of whatever it is they rent. So if you go to Airbnb and you rent a room or a house for $3,500 a week, the city would get $350. Now, the issue of TOT is become kind of a touch and go. There's a school of thought that believes that the TOT is not designed to accommodate short-term rentals, and there's another school of thought by looking at the definitions in our current TOT that believes that it covers short-term rentals. So that may be a discussion. However, the Planning Commission is not being required to rule on that issue because Chapter 3 is not within the purview of the Development Code and is not within the purview of the Planning Commission. However, as experienced property owners in this city, we're seeking your directions as to what you would like to see should this come to fruition. General plan goals and policies, these are things that we have to make findings of, and whenever we write a report of this nature. The City of San Bernardino General Plan includes goals and policies to guide future housing development as follows. Land Use Goal 2.1, preserve and enhance San Bernardino's unique neighborhoods. And Goal 2.2, provide development that integrates with and minimizes impacts on surrounding land uses. Also, a Development Code Amendment 2509, which is this item, aligns with key target goal number 3 to improve the quality of life, and more specifically, improve the city's appearance, cleanliness, and attractiveness. Specifically, the ban will update the Development Code to prohibit short-term rentals in all residential zones. The amendment to the Development Code will ensure consistency with the city's land use designations as required by the general plan. We also did a CEQA determination that under the common sense exemption, that this particular action to be taken does not create significant effects on the environment, and it prohibits short-term rentals in all residential zones, and that's all it does. Fiscal impacts. If we collected TOT, the estimate is that based on the number of operators currently in the city could get as much as $324,000 annually. At the same time, we may have to pay about $16,500 to monitor the locations of the short-term rentals in the city. So the recommendation before the Planning Commission this evening is to adopt Resolution 2025-059, recommending a ban on short-term rentals in the city's residential districts to the mayor and city council, and also recommend approval of Development Code Amendment 2509, which amends the definition section and the permitted uses section under 1904, Chapter 1904 of our Development Code. And then number 3, provide direction to staff on the TOT issues. That ends my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:48 p.m. I have no speaker cards on this slip, so I'll go ahead and go to the commissioners. Commissioner Daly, do you have any questions?
I do.
And I'll just go this way for commissioners.
Cool, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So I just wanted to restate what I think I heard, just so I understand I'm on the same page here. So a couple years ago, the Planning Commission said to the City Council, we would like to develop a plan on short-term rentals. The City Council said, thank you very much, we're not interested in that. Go back and give us a ban on short-term rentals. So I guess my question, before we talk about any of it, is what's our role here if we, as a commission, already went to the council and said, we would like this, and they said, thank you very much, but we're not interested in that, come back and do this. I'm confused as to like how, yeah, go ahead.
Commissioner Daly, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission, there was a time lapse between the time this item came to the Planning Commission, which was 2023, and when it went to the City Council.
Okay.
When this came to the Planning Commission, it was a unanimous decision. When it went to the City Council, it was a narrow majority. So I think it probably passed by, maybe 5-4 or 4, whatever it is. So I don't think the issue is a disregard or a disrespect to the role of the Planning Commission. I just think it was the politics of the time. Perhaps there were some specific incidents that happened that made the city decide that, why do we even want to consider this?
Yeah.
So they decided to ban it, and this is where we are today. Albert?
And so thank you for that. And then the follow-up, and that's probably going to hit more to you. So what's our, hypothetically, if we said no, and I guess that's what I don't understand. Like, if they've given direction to staff to come back with a ban on short-term rentals, at what point is now that a role of the Planning Commission if direction has already been given and you're expected to go back to the council with this ban?
So the reason that it's before you is because the state planning and zoning law says that the Planning Commission has to make a recommendation to council. When you heard it the first time, you didn't consider an outright ban. You considered a program and what that program might look like. So you never considered a ban.
Okay.
Therefore, you never made a recommendation on a proposal to ban. Then it went to the council. Council changed the purview of what they wanted to see. State planning and zoning law says when the council changes the purview, it's got to go back to Planning Commission for a new recommendation.
Okay.
That's why it's here.
Okay.
So your role is the same, to provide a recommendation, but you never considered an outright ban before. That's why it's before you.
Okay, thank you. That helps clarify. And then, so now just a little bit more into the substance of this, just one question. So I thought that I understood here that we're going to, if this ban goes forward, that we have to identify and then notify those properties, those residential properties that are using their property for short-term rentals, so that we can formally notify them that this ban is in place. And then I also see that, I guess where I'm losing it is I'm losing the thread here is the transit, the TOT part of it. Because if we're saying that it's not, commercial uses aren't allowed in residential zones, which would be underlying pinning of the whole ban, then are we assuming then that there is these short-term rentals are happening in commercial properties or residential commercial properties, properties outside of the residential zone where commercial activity can happen, that could therefore generate the TOT?
Commissioner Daly, I think I understand your question. You're basically questioning whether or not a residential use, a use in a residential zone, which is not commercial in nature, can actually generate transient occupancy. Now, my recommendation would be that in reading that section of the municipal code that talks about transient occupancy, it doesn't differentiate between residential or commercial. Now, but we have a technical problem, because if we're saying that rentals is a commercial activity in a residential zone, and it kind of creates a kind of, what are we really talking about? So that is why this TOT thing is something that would be a recommendation to the city council as to whether or not it's feasible. Now, if we had approved a program for it, TOT would still be a part of that program. Either way, we get TOT. The difference here is that by banning this, we don't get the benefit of making people apply, pay a fee, have inspections done, and these are things that council consider to be perhaps cost prohibitive and taxing on staff to be doing these inspections. Well, if we ban them, we will still be doing those same activities. So that is just my perspective of it. Now, as far as what your recommendation will be, you can tell the city council that we don't want to ban this thing. We want to approve them, and I mean, that's within your purview as well.
Okay, so thank you for that. And I guess the root of my confusion was, if short-term rentals are banned, then therefore no TOT comes from any potential TOT that could come should we allow short-term rentals. That's where I was confused. It's like, if we're going to ban short-term rentals, then why are we even talking about new TOT?
Yeah, so let me clarify that. So the TOT would come for those who are doing it illegally. So after we spend all this money hiring this company to identify these people, and we notify them, and if they don't cease, then they will be assessed fines plus TOT.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Commissioner Lopez, do you have any comments or questions? Commissioner Garcia? Commissioner Galande?
I think you answered my question in regards to the fines. So let's just assume that we ban it, right? And so then they continue to do business. They'll have a TOT, occupancy tax, and then they also are going to have a fine in addition to that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Pratt?
So to me, this seems like something that's nearly impossible to enforce. My question would be, who would be tasked with enforcement? Once the word gets out, people just stop putting it on Airbnb and use different channels. So I guess my question would be, if we didn't ban it and put TOTs in place, who would assess them? And I see that we could generate 324 annually with a 16.5 cost, but I don't see any, enforcement cost. And diversion of resources, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Commissioner Pratt, so the enforcement costs will be covered by how the program is set up. So we would say if you want to do short-term rentals on your property, there's an application fee to be paid. And whatever that fee is now becomes the bank for which if code enforcement had to go out there or whoever else has to go out there, we can get the money from. With a ban in place, we don't have that opportunity. The only ones that we would be going after would be the ones that are in violation, and it may not generate as much resources as we would if it was not banned. But the direction being brought to the Planning Commission from the City Council is to entertain this ban, but again, you are free thinkers.
Commissioner Carloni, do you have any questions? Commissioner Garcia?
Just a couple comments. I'm looking at cities that currently have a ban. I mean, Oceanside, Fullerton, Huntington Beach. And then there's some partial bans in place, so I don't know. Not too versed on this, but I mean, short-term rentals, it seems like we're trying to, the recommendation is trying to deter any potential, maybe business, even if it's somebody's property, we're turning people away, in my opinion. I know benefits to a ban would be bring down city noise. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to be diverting resources. We have other stuff we got to focus on than chasing people with that's renting their Airbnb if they're property owners. We might deter people from wanting to potentially purchase. And I don't know that San Bernardino, although I love this city and I live here, is the most sought after neighborhood on an Airbnb. So in my opinion, I think we're turning any type of positive impact we may have from a short-term rental. We're not going to stop the noise from a short-term rental. We're not going to stop the parties. People in San Bernardino like to party. My 2 cents.
Yeah, Commissioner Garcia, Madam Chair. Most places that ban these things are basically tourist attractions. I mean, your Corona del Mars and and places like that. And there's myriad of programs out there that either approve them or ban them. San Bernardino, I may be wrong. I don't think it's a destination of where people want to come and do certain things. I mean, there are probably certain things that attract certain people. The rave, the rave events that we have, I don't think there are enough motel rooms in this city to accommodate everybody. So that could be an opportunity for residents to rent their room for the weekend or whatever it is that rave thing happens. And it happens many times during the year. So, I mean, there are opportunities as far as that is concerned. But compared to places that generate $2 million out of TOT just on short-term rentals, ours best estimate would be about $320,000.
I was just going to have to disagree with you, Orlando, on that comment, because surprisingly enough, there are a lot of people that come to the city of San Bernardino. We don't have a lot of hotels. So people use Airbnb for those short-term visits, including, like you mentioned, the raves. We have concerts near our area constantly. Oh, graduations, the Olympics are coming in. So people are going to be here. But regardless if there's a ban or not, people are still going to have their Airbnbs, right? So the question is, what's the impact to the city, the resources that we have available to us? How is that going to be managed?
Commissioner Galande, we have estimated that at least we would have one dedicated code enforcement officer who does nothing but work on short-term rentals. It would be that chaotic. So we have to dedicate somebody to do that. And the question would be, the resources that we use, we can get them only if you're a violator. So you get a citation, plus you get assessed a TOT. As opposed to a regular program, you pay a fee, you get registered, and you get your annual inspections. You'll, be told to do A, B, C, and D. But as far as how do we identify who these people are, this is where these deck technology people come into play. they are able to tap into whatever resources are out there, even the underground ones. They can find them, and they would tell us where they are on a map, and then we would go and send them a letter or pay them a visit and say, hey, the city has now banned short-term rentals effective, January 1st, 2026, or whenever that date would be. And if you continue to violate, these are the fines you're going to accrue. It would just be like a regular code case. You get a fine, and then the fines accrue, and at a particular point, you also get your TOT. And if you don't pay, you get a lien placed on your property.
I remember when this came to Planning Commission, the department presented it that PD would be the primary contact and would go out to these rentals, but the department never even contacted PD that this program was in place, right? So I believe the commission asked the department to go back to discuss this with PD, if it's even something that they're willing to enforce. I believe the department came back and said, yeah, PD is willing to enforce this. Has that changed now that it will be a strict, who's going to go for the call outs when an actual noise complaint is actually taking place? Is that still going to be a high priority for PD?
Madam Chair, that's a very good question. So PD would normally respond to things like noise and that kind of thing. But in a city where we have other serious crimes, that they may respond, but they may respond later.
Right.
The role code enforcement would play is in monitoring who is doing what and giving them citations. Also, but if somebody was having a party and it got too loud and somebody called the police department, that is where they would call. Now, if we had a program in place, that would be other steps that we'd be taking. There would be somebody who is going to be responsible for that location 24 hours, and they would call that person and say, hey, go and take care of this property, or go and take care of your renters. But that's not the environment in which we are right now.
Understood. Are there any other comments or questions? I'm going to go Commissioner Garcia, Orlando Garcia.
Just to follow up, I remember we had code enforcement here recently on another issue, and the numbers they gave us for code enforcement officers versus what we have, the potential code violations right now, they're way understaffed. So where would this code enforcement officer come from? Who's going to pay for it? And the reality is, I'm trying to just be as realistic as I possibly can here. There's enough crime. Although our crime is way down, and we do appreciate the PD, there's enough crime in the area to keep 100 more officers busy. And just throwing a number, probably 20 more code enforcement officers, very, very busy. I highly doubt we're going to chase short-term rentals. We have a lot of other code violations we can.
Commissioner Garcia, I think the response code enforcement is having now is to this idea that it's not an idea. We're going to be proactive, and we are becoming proactive. By being proactive, we have done two things. We have basically divided the code enforcement into groups and what they respond to and how they prioritize their response. Yeah, there's a whole lot to be done. Now, part of that also involves hiring additional people. And we are currently hiring additional people. So we are hiring additional people, but I don't see us hiring 40 people to staff code enforcement, which today is probably has a staff of about 20.
Commissioner Pratt, I believe you had a follow-up.
Yeah, kind of along, the same lines of what Commissioner Garcia was saying. It seems like there are already mechanisms in place, for policing and enforcement. If, currently, if there's loud noise, the cops come. If your property looks, in disrepair, code enforcement comes. So I don't know, I feel like we're creating a new entity that doesn't need to exist when we're already limited on resources here. That's my comment.
Commissioner Daley.
Yeah, I'm just having a hard time, kind of echoing, some of these recent comments. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And are we creating a solution for a problem that maybe is, doesn't exist, or if it does exist, if we were in a high tourist destination, Palm Springs or, something along the way, Anaheim, I could see a need. Look, I live in downtown. I could rent my place out for the raves all day and be very happy with that. But I don't see it rising to the level of like a serious enough issue in the city that we need to put a ban in place. If the council wants to make a decision and the council wants to act, then by all means they can act. I feel like we're creating a solution for a problem that, if it does exist, it's certainly not in like the top 10 problems in San Bernardino of, short-term rentals, and, vagrants. I mean, no disrespect, but the vagrants are not necessarily the short-term rental people that are coming in for a short-term period of time to our city to come to an event or go to a graduation or a Little League tournament, or, that's not the source of the problem. So anyway, my 2 cents.
If there's no other comments, Commissioner Garcia.
I just had one question for staff. So it says here that it was direction from City Council back in 2023, about 2 years ago. So I'd like to know how this item was brought to council or staff and planning commissioners. Was it like complaints from community residents, phone calls to the city, or how did this item come about?
Commissioner Garcia, I'm going to have to guess that perhaps there were probably a few, maybe not a few calls about disturbances. Some neighborhoods are very sensitive to the environment of their neighborhood. If something is out of place, they get uncomfortable. And I think there are some neighborhoods in this city that have experienced this short-term rental fiasco, and they are vocal about it, and it had resulted into us taking a position. Now, also bear in mind that in our current code, there is nothing about short-term rentals. So it could be a situation whereby there might be a need for it, but we don't even have it in our code, or we don't have it in our code, but we're experiencing those problems. So it could be any one of those things. But the fact of the matter is, it came to Planning Commission, it went to City Council, and we're here today.
Seeing no other comments, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:09 and entertain a motion. Maybe start. Do I need to open the public hearing back up to start discussion amongst the, no. Okay, perhaps from what I'm hearing from the commission is we would like to keep the possibility of short-term rentals, and perhaps we're looking at a motion to deny staff's recommendation and keep short-term rentals as a possibility. Is that what I'm hearing from this commission? I'm seeing some yeses. Commissioner Daly?
Can I just ask a question? Because I'm just kind of starting to realize maybe there's two distinct things here. So one, I just heard that we don't have a definition in the development code of short-term rentals. So it seems like it could be appropriate to add language into the development code that creates a definition for short-term rentals. So at least now it's in the development code. Like that seems reasonable. And if we have a deficiency in our development code, fine. But I think that then there's the issue of, do we ban those newly defined short-term rentals in the development code? And I think maybe we could create the definition, have it live there, but not necessarily ban it. And then if the council wants to take that step, then the council can take that step.
So am I hearing a motion to create an ordinance that defines short-term rentals?
Yes, generally with.
Yeah, I think what is being recommended would be a kind of a hybrid of recommendation number 2, which is at the very least create a definition for it, list it in the residential zone. However, the challenge would be, once we list an item we can't leave it blank. So what Commissioner Daly is recommending is we leave it blank until City Council says ban or approve them. Is that the point?
Sure.
Because once we put it in the code, are we going to get people that are saying, "Yeah, I see that in your code. Is it okay?" And we're
Yeah.
going to say we don't know because so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sympathetic to the fact that we are kind of deficient in the code by not having definitions of short-term rentals. I mean, I could argue that if we wanted to say that short-term rentals are allowed in CR zones where commercial and residential uses are allowed, then maybe we could do that. But, you know, short-term rentals not being allowed in residential, I just, you know, I don't feel that strongly about it, but I'm just trying to, you know, kind of be sympathetic to the fact that it does seem that we have a deficiency in our development code, so at least having that language in there. But if that opens up a whole nother can of worms around like, well, where do we allow it, da, 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 particularly when what's in front of us is to just do an outright ban. I don't know, what do y'all think?
Commissioner Pratt.
My inclination for now would just be to recommend, or to make a motion recommending denial of staff's recommendation.
Okay. I hear that as a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a second.
Yes, we do.
I'm sorry, who
Ladies
was the
first this
second?
time.
Commissioner
Ladies
Colon.
first this time.
2 seconds.
And then we'll call for the vote. Before we call for the vote, do we have any directions to staff regarding the assessment of TOT? Do we want to touch that or? No. Yeah, we don't want to touch that.
Okay.
Chair Sherrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Daly,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Ivan Garcia,
And this is a yes to deny staff recommendation, yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Galande,
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt,
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni,
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 5.
Wait, I got it.
Chairwoman, let me
Yes.
just clarify for the commission that the resolution was drafted the other way, right? And so Gabriel just told me he has what he needs in terms of rewriting the resolution for the findings as you all have voted. You'll see it probably at your next meeting where the resolution will reflect your recommendation to deny an outright ban with the findings. Only 2 findings anyway. But when you see it on that agenda, remember, you already decided. It's just going to be memorializing your decision.
So it will be a consent item?
Correct.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair, Planning Commission, and members of our public. The item before us tonight is item number 5, which is the Development Code Amendment 25-11, which is a citywide initiative similar to the project we just heard. This is the 2025 Accessory Dwelling Unit, or ADU, legislative update, which ultimately modifies Section 19.04 of our Zoning and Development Code, putting us into compliance with recent changes in state law. All right, so just a little bit of background. Accessory dwelling units, they're not new. They've been around. They were first formulated and put together at the end of 2016, early 2017. This commonly replaced outdated language. For some of us that remember, they were previously identified as mother-in-law quarters, granny flats. I think I just heard that mentioned right now. And what we knew at the time to be second dwelling units. So ADUs came in, they just replaced all that verbiage and said, here's your accessory dwelling unit. Since then, the trend is not only the city, but the state as a whole, it's just to really bolster and promote housing, as I'm sure you've seen throughout the last few years. And so a little bit of background information. Back in May of 2021, the city had adopted ordinance number 1559, which established standards for ADUs within the zoning and development code. And then about a year and a half later, in December of 2022, the city adopted ordinance number 1604. And this, in short, updated the pre-existing requirements and did apply some objective standards. And then more recently, at the earlier part of this year, in January of 2025, the city adopted ordinance number 1645, which provided updated definitions, expanded the prohibition on parking, and increased the allowable number of detached accessory dwelling units on a multifamily lot. These are some of the more notable updates. There was a handful more, but those are the ones that we saw affected us more so on the day-to-day. So one of the bills that was signed is Assembly Bill 1154. Just for some context for the group, when a junior accessory dwelling unit, or JADU, is developed, the existing state law requires that a property owner has to live in the JADU or a remaining portion of the primary unit. So if the JADU has complete independent living, which is typically characterized if it has its own bathroom, if it has its own kitchen facilities, and it has a place to sleep by way of a bedroom, then the owner occupancy for a JADU is no longer required. Secondly, Assembly Bill 1154, which coincides with the previous item, says that JADUs, it prohibits them from being used as short-term rentals. So as a refresher, this is anything less than 30 days. That's already part of cities' regulations. At this point, state law made it a requirement that they are not allowed to be used as a short-term rental. Again, this is just for the JADU, not to be confused with the primary or anything. The second legislation is Senate Bill 543. Similarly, this is pretty cut and dry. One of the requirements is that the jurisdiction has to update the Department of Housing and Community Development, or it's basically the state's planning department, HCD, that we have made some type of progress, and we have to notify them within 60 days. Secondly, Senate Bill 543 introduced some cleanup items, updated definitions, things like that. For example, currently ADUs, they're defined as livable space, but through this legislation, it made it a little bit more tighter and said interior livable space. So that ultimately tightened up what habitable space meant. So if you can imagine, things like attached garages or maybe even stairwells would be omitted from that definition. We're just looking at the interior livable space. And lastly, it ties in the definition that we just mentioned to the required fees. So it speaks directly to the development impact fees. It says the existing law says if a unit is 750 or less, it's exempt from development impact fees. It just tightened it up and said interior livable space. Additionally, if ADUs are less than 500 square feet, they're not subject to school fees. It just said interior livable space of 500 square feet are not subject to school fees. So why is this item being brought forward tonight is because of the timing of this legislation. Both Assembly Bill 1154 and Senate Bill 543 were recently signed into legislation back in October, just a few weeks back. Although these updates don't change much and are pretty minor, there are provisions in both these bills that state that any local jurisdiction's AD ordinance has to be updated in compliance before January 1st of the next calendar year. Otherwise, any ordinance regarding accessory dwelling units will be found null and void. Now, obviously, that's something we want to stay on top of because we as a city have crafted our own ordinance and would like to maintain that. And again, because of the timing of things, we did bring forward an urgency ordinance to the mayor and city council at last week's meeting, where they did vote unanimously to approve that urgency ordinance. As a result, that urgency ordinance was effective immediately. And what that did is that gave that action that the council had made last week, that just gave us a grace period to bring back the regular ordinance, which is what's in front of us tonight. It looks almost identical. Actually, it is identical. That being said, staff's recommendation is to adopt resolution number 2025-060, forwarding a recommendation to the mayor and city council, and find that the project is exempt pursuant to CEQA through one of the statutory exemptions. It's Public Resources Code section 21080.17. And then we did properly notice this project in preparation for tonight's hearing. Since this is a code amendment and a citywide action, it was a display ad, but we have not received any comments. So that does conclude my presentation, and staff acting as the applicant are here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 7:23 p.m. Do I have any questions or comments by the commission? Dan, do you have a question? Nope. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:23 p.m. and entertain a motion.
I motion to accept the resolution number 2025-060.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Can we please take roll?
Chair Sherrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Daly,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Galande,
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt,
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni,
Yes.
and Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Yes.
Okay, vote passes unanimously.
Mr. Elliott, if we could go ahead and take a 10-minute break before we proceed to item number 6.
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and take a 10-minute break. I'm going to go ahead and call the Planning Commission meeting back to order at 7:33 p.m. If we could go ahead with item number 6.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. I'm Chantel Choice with the City of San Bernardino Planning Division. I'm here to present item number 6, revocation of conditional use permit 25-05. Item number 6 is a request to revoke revocation of conditional use permit 25-05, which was previously approved for the conversion of an existing motel into a recuperative care facility on a parcel containing 1.79 acres located at 1960 Ostrom's Way within the Commercial General 1 zone. The site is located within the Commercial General 1 zone. It's also surrounded by properties to the north, west, and south that is also within the Commercial General 1 with the 215 freeway to the east. The property is currently a Motel 6. The properties to the north is a mixture of retail and restaurant uses. Properties to the west is a restaurant. To the south, we have a self-storage facility, and to the east is the 215 freeway. Just to give you a little background, on July 8th, 2025, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution 2025-027, approving conditional use permit 25-05, allowing the conversion of an existing motel into a recuperative care facility. As part of the conditions of approval, staff was recommended to conduct site visits every 6 months to ensure that the facility is in compliance with the conditions of approval. The applicant at the meeting did agree to this condition, and they also signed a conditions of approval affidavit as well. On September 8th, 2025, staff conducted their first compliance inspection. At said inspection, staff noticed unpermitted work had been done to the building and the business operation had already commenced. The recuperative care facility at the time had occupied a total of 9 rooms at the east side of the building. 4 rooms for office space, 5 rooms for patients, with 2 patients to each room. So a total of 10 patients at the time. Since the first compliance inspection, staff did reach out to the applicant, notifying them that they needed a certificate of occupancy in order to occupy the building to initiate the business operation. On October 13th, the city sent a letter to the applicant specifying violations regarding public health and safety issues that will need to be addressed in order to receive a certificate of occupancy. On October 15th, staff conducted a second compliance inspection. The facility was still operating without a certificate of occupancy and was continuing to expand their operations. Meetings were held and discussions were held between staff and the applicant regarding occupying the building without a certificate of occupancy, but the applicant still insisted on operating. On November 10th, 2025, the Planning Commission held a public hearing. At said meeting, the project was agendized as a discussion item to consider the status of conditional use permit 25-05. The applicant was notified of the public hearing, however, they did not attend the meeting. On November 21st, the applicant, National Healthcare and Housing Advisor, submitted a formal letter that NHHA and their nonprofit partner, Whole Person Care Clinic, have discontinued the recuperative care program operations located at 1960 Ostrom's Way, and that was effective immediately. Staff did go out to visit the site and have confirmed, we went out on multiple occasions and have confirmed that the operations have ceased and and NHHA has moved out of the motel. Conditional use permit was for the conversion of an existing motel into a recuperative care facility. The grounds for revocation of conditional use permit 25-05 are as follows. The project did not comply with Building and Safety Division requirements as required in condition of approval number 19. The project also did not comply with the conditions provided by San Bernardino County Fire as required in condition number 20, and condition of approval number 30 states that all conditions of approval and standard requirements shall be implemented and/or prior to final inspection and/or issuance of a certificate of occupancy. The applicant failed to comply with the conditions of approval number 19 and 20 in order to obtain a certificate of occupancy. Therefore, one or more of the conditions of approval were not met. According to the California Building Code, Section 11.1, no building or structure shall be used or occupied, and no change to the existing occupancy classification of a building or structure or portion thereof shall be made until the building official has issued a certificate of occupancy. A letter was sent out to the applicant regarding occupying the building without a certificate of occupancy, citing California Building Code Section 111.1. However, the recuperative care facility continued operations without a certificate of occupancy. Therefore, the use was in violation of city and state regulations. The letter sent out to the applicant listed violations regarding public health and safety issues that needed to be addressed. The applicant insisted on continuing operations, which was detrimental to the safety of the patients. This is a photo of the existing site. Just a layout. The recuperative care facility took up a couple of the rooms were located on the east side of the building is where they were occupying. Staff recommends Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-061, finding the project categorically exempt pursuant to Section 15321, enforcement actions by regulatory agencies in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving revocation of conditional use permit 25-05 based on the findings of facts and subject to the recommended conditions of approval. The applicant for conditional use permit nor a representative is here today. That concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 7:41 PM. I have no speaker slips. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this item? Okay. Are there any comments or questions by the commission? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:42 PM and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. The staff's recommendation, yes.
I second it.
Thank you. Can I please have the vote?
Chair Sherrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Daly,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Galande,
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt,
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni,
Yes.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 7, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Hope everybody's doing well. My item tonight is going to be item number 7, but before I delve into it, I had to make some corrections to the resolution. So if you want to go into the reso, there is a section, Section 2, finding for subdivision 25-05. And we left the verbiage Development and Environmental Review Committee. It should say Planning Commission. And then towards the end, where it says Planning Commission Action, the sequential numbering got off somehow. So it should actually be section number 6. And then within that section of Adopt Planning Commission Resolution, B should say finding conformity with the city general plan. And those will be the corrections tonight.
Say it one more time. Finding conformity with the
city's general plan.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
Instead of with current zoning?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on into the item. Tonight, the item is item number 7, subdivision 25-05 for tentative parcel map 21032 and development permit type P 25-08. The project proposes consolidating 17 parcels into 2 and developing a 106-unit affordable housing community on a total project site of 3.8 acres. Of the units, 105 will be restricted to low-income households, which is 30% to 80% for AMI, for at least 55 years. The only one that won't be restricted is the manager's quarters. The site includes 3.5 areas of city-owned land and a 0.3-acre parcel with an existing apartment building. That will be demolished after the applicant prepares a relocation plan that meets all of our legal requirements. The project requires 4 concessions and 6 waivers under the state density bonus law and may be built in 2 phases. It was deemed complete on October 6, 2025, and is subject to the density bonus housing agreement. The project site is located at APN 0142-52208 through 17, 0142-522-25, 0142-522-35 through 38, and 0142-522-41 and 42. It is also within the residential high 50 zone. So the project site, here's our location map. The project site is known as Surplus Land Site number 12. It's located at the cross streets of 5th Street and Meridian Avenue in the 6th Ward. In 2024, the city updated its general plan and zoning to allow higher density housing throughout the city. This placed Site 12 within the RH 50 zone. The residential high 50 zone permits the establishment of the proposed affordable multifamily residential project subject to this development permit type P. This project will add more numbers for housing, helping to exceed our regional housing need allocation or RENA numbers. And this will be reflected within the general plan update and new zoning maps. See how it shows it's still commercial general 1 here on the map? It's because it hasn't been updated yet. Here's also an aerial view. You can see residential to the north and to the west, vacant properties to the east, and commercial properties to the south. All right, so a little background. The city currently owns this 3.5 acre vacant land located at 5th Street and Meridian. It was designated for disposal under the Surplus Land Act. State law requires all city-owned properties that the city does not need for public use made available for development of affordable housing. Jamboree Housing Corporation was the developer selected through the SLA process to acquire these properties for the development. And there is what I mentioned, the 0.3 acres, which is privately owned. And there is a contract in process to purchase the property, and that would bring the whole total of the property to 3.8 acres. So on March 6, 2024, the city updated its general plan and zoning via ordinance number 1627 to allow for higher density housing, placing Site 12 in the residential high 50 zone, which allows 50 units per net acre. The state confirmed that the city met all Surplus Land Act requirements. In 2025, the city approved an exclusive negotiating agreement with Jamboree for a project reserved for the low-income households. This December 17th, 2025, the City Council will consider providing home funds and a land loan equal to the site's appraisal value of $3.59 million, and final terms will be set through an option to purchase agreement and long-term affordability restrictions. So throughout this whole pre-development and entitlement process, the city's housing division has been working closely with Jamboree to ensure the project's financial commitments align with the land use approvals. So a little about the architecture and the design. The buildings feature a modern style with varied color schemes, versatile gray, grizzly gray, and snowbound, mixed materials such as fiber cement siding and stucco. Architectural elements include parapet roofs with varied heights, vertical accent panels, articulated balconies, and consistent window patterns. These features create a contemporary, visually engaging design that meets California energy efficiency standards. So we'll have 24 one-bedroom units at 615 square feet. 6 of those one bedrooms will be at 720 square feet, and 5 of those one bedrooms will be at 689 square feet. 2-bedroom units, we have 24 at 833 square feet, and 6 units at 893 square feet. And for the 3-bedroom units, they will be at 1,060 square feet approximately, and there's 41 units of those. So additional features, there's 4 common laundry rooms and an on-site leasing office. For fencing, we have a decorative split-face block walls along the sides and rears of the property, wrought iron fencing with pilasters along the frontage, 6-foot vehicular gates at site entrances and exits, plus pedestrian access gates throughout, 6-foot fence around the community pool, and a 42-inch fence around the dog park. The landscape design includes drought-tolerant, non-invasive landscaping with approximately 52 trees, including strawberry hybrids, crepe myrtles, and palo verdes. Street trees installed per the city's master street program for the trees, including along the public right-of-way, recreation areas, and 5th Street. And all additional shrubs and ground covers are low or moderately low, so it meets all the WUCOL's demand. For site design, access, and traffic, the project complements nearby single-family neighborhoods with a modern design that encourages high-quality future development. So by putting this nice-looking facility, oops, kind of went too far, it's going to it's going to promote better looking design. So it provides 258 parking spaces, but we'll have 152, including guest EV, van, 88, and bike spaces using the density law bonus, which I'll go into. Access is taken from a 26-foot driveway on North Meridian Avenue and West 5th Street. There will be a gated entry to the main parking and amenity areas and gated areas at the north and south buildings. The site is designed for vehicle and pedestrian circulation with clear paths throughout the entire site. The city's traffic engineer division reviewed the project's focused traffic impact analysis and found no significant impacts on surrounding roadways. The TA will ultimately be reviewed by Caltrans District Number 8 and approved by them, and any required conditions will be implemented by them. So as part of the amenities, the development project is required to provide amenities for the tenants. This proposal offers a play area with a tot lot, outdoor dining areas featuring barbecues, tables, and a shade structure. It has a swimming pool with lounge chairs and several outdoor lounge areas for like reading, relaxation. There's a dog park. It's provided at the southwest corner abutting Building 1 to keep the pets healthy and happy. And walkable paths traverse the extent of the project site for anyone looking to exercise. All right, so the density bonus and concessions and waivers. So under California's density bonus law, which is Government Code Section 65915, the applicants requested concessions and waivers to support the development of this affordable housing. So concessions reduce the development standards or costs. Waivers allow exceptions to standards that would otherwise prevent the project from being built. So those are the difference between those two. Because the project's 100% affordable, it qualifies for all the benefits of the density bonus law, including increased density waivers and concessions. The applicant is requesting 4 concessions and 6 waivers under this California density bonus law. The concessions include removing underground utility requirements, eliminating covered parking and the amount of spaces needed, so that's where we got the reduction. Unit storage, which is like 120 square feet of unit storage in the garage, which really takes up a lot of space. And replacing the community facilities district with a maintenance agreement. So they would just be maintaining the frontage of their property while the property management maintains the private 5th Street. So the waivers would allow reductions. So these are the waivers now. The waivers would allow reductions in setbacks, outdoor space requirements, sidewalk width, driveway gate setbacks, which are usually 40 for a commercial, and turning radii for the corners. So they're reducing them from 35 to 25. Which these are all necessary to build the project at the approved density. Staff finds that these concessions and waivers are needed to and do not harm public health, safety, or the environment, and help make the project financially feasible while supporting the city's affordable housing goals. So with this proposal, we also need to make a consistency with the city general plan, as we did with the Hope Navigation Center, if you recall. So the city of San Bernardino is requesting that the Planning Commission review the proposed affordable housing project and issue a finding of conformity with the city's general plan. Under Government Code Section 65402, no property acquisition, disposition, street vacation, or public building can proceed without a Planning Commission report confirming conformity with the general plan. This review gives the Planning Commission the authority to interpret the general plan and ensure that the proposed affordable housing development aligns with the city's adopted policies before issuing a finding of conformity needed due to the land donation. So that's why we're having to make this conformity, because we're donating the land. All right, so we have the existing site looking east to North Dallas. We have the existing site west to Meridian. Here's the existing site looking north to the 210 freeway. When I took these pictures, this whole west side of the property is just riddled with the unhoused. So we had tent city going on there. So this is the existing site looking south to the 210 freeway. This is the existing site this is the fourplex at 2269 5th Street West. So this will be demolished And there's a relocation plan for the tenants. So they will be relocated with housing as their guide. So they're not just displaced, there's going to be contractual agreements for that. So this is 2618 Fifth Street West. This quadplex here is remaining on the properties. So it's not a part of the actual project. It will have access via the same way the Jamboree facility will have access off of West Fifth Street. And they went into maintenance agreements. So what they're going to be doing is redoing their driveway, all the frontage there, and I think the driveway of up to a certain point on the actual property itself. So that will remain intact, and they'll still have full access to their home, or I should say homes. So this is the tentative parcel map 21032. You can see that there's like a red line there, dash, so it's going to show kind of in two phases. So phase 1 would be, I believe, the top, and phase 2 would be the bottom. Here we have our site plan. We could see the setup of the amenities, 5th Street West coming in and exiting on the north and south with gated access, vehicular gates. So this is the fire department layout. So this is a conceptual plan that they basically approved. So they're saying that the circulation's working, the in and outs, the ingress is going to be okay. They're not foreseeing any issues. We have our basic floor plans for building A, 1 and 2 bedrooms. Oops. For building B, mostly the 2 and 3 bedrooms. And then we have our elevations for building A, northwest, south, east. Very nice looking building. Same for building B. And then I added in this conceptual. It kind of gives the way the north and the south set of buildings is going to be looking for all 4 of them, and with a little streetscape there. And before I make a recommendation, I'm going to have housing come up.
Good evening. We're just here to show support of the project that we've been working with Jamboree to secure the financing. They plan on starting the financing process probably January. As Mike stated, we will be going to City Council for a conditional funding commitment and all the options that he spoke about. I won't reiterate that. But as you all know, affordable housing is much needed in the city, and this will provide high-quality, well-maintained, affordable units to the city. Does he have any questions? I'll let you go back to Mike.
They may have some questions at the end. All right. Thank you, Trina. So with that, where did the clicker go? All right. So with that, our recommendation tonight is that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution number 2025-062, finding the approval of subdivision 25-05 and development permit type P 25-08 to be categorically exempt under section 15332 for infill development projects of the CEQA guidelines. And 2, finding conformity with the current general plan. The proposal to develop and establish a multifamily affordable home project conforms to the current residential high 50 zone designation based on the findings of fact. And 3, approving subdivision 25-05 and development permit type P 25-08 based on the findings of fact and subject to the recommended conditions of approval. And the applicant is here, and I can go ahead and take any questions. And like Trina said, we have housing here as well.
Thank you, Mike. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 8 p.m. I have one speaker. Looks like Avalon.
Yes, so that's why I was in the hallway. I was talking
Okay.
to a gentleman. and he just had a couple questions concerning the type of development it was.
Okay.
He wanted to know, when construction was going to start. Is it actually going to happen? So I gave him my card, my work cell phone number. I told him reach out to me anytime. If there's any issues, if you have any questions, we can bring you in. We could sit down with Mr. Elliott. And we can work it out.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments by the commission? Commissioner Daly?
Thank you. Project looks fantastic. I'm definitely in support of it. I did have just a couple of questions. I thought I saw in the staff report a reference to SCAG and the RENA numbers, and that this was not gonna be included.
So what had happened was when we did the update for the housing element, we included APNs that were going to be within the RENA numbers. These APNs were not included, so this is extra surplus. So we're going to be on top of RENA.
That's a better answer.
Yes. So we're actually ahead of the game,
That's
Mr. Daly.
Kind of impressive, actually.
Thank you.
Which makes me concerned to ask this next question. So, the waiver of talk to me about underground utility and why we're not going to do that. I understand that it's expensive, but at the same time, development comes in. We should be undergrounding to the greatest extent possible. So help me understand
that. Commissioner Daly, Madam members of the Planning Commission. So this is where state law kind of kicks in because of the concessions and the waivers. One of the items is undergrounding of utilities, which they have selected. And you're quite correct. Undergrounding utilities is quite expensive. Their position is if we go ahead and underground utilities, it blows the entire project financially. And because I wouldn't use the word imposition, but we have state law that kind of supports their position. It puts this particular project in a totally different category than any other project that is not a low-income, affordable housing project. Yes, that is one of those concessions that is being considered at this particular time.
And so thank you for that. So is there like a list of choices that one can make to say, I would like concessions on this, this, and this, but I'm okay with this?
Commissioner Daly, Mike, can you read some of the concessions again that have been, it's kind of like
it's basically
a menu.
That's kind of what I'm envisioning. I got a whole bunch of boxes that I can
so
check,
they go
and I
through
get
the
to
project
pick 4.
and they say, okay, well, it'd be too expensive to build out enclosed parking or covered parking. So that would be one of the waivers they're asking for. So they're allowed up to 6 concessions, and because they're 100% affordable, the waivers are pretty much unlimited as long as we're making those decisions here in this body.
Okay.
I mean, for example, one of the other deviations is the kind of private space in an apartment complex, for example, that is not built, that is market rate. They're required to have a portion of maybe a balcony or something of that nature. It is being waived. There is a waiver on the number of parking spaces being provided. I mean, so this is, there's a lot of waivers and concessions on this project.
Yeah, no, okay. So that makes sense. I understand, trade-offs and whatnot, I guess.
Yeah. Correct.
One for another. The last question that I had, there was, maybe it's under the waivers or concessions, I heard that we're going to get rid of a CFD and shift that responsibility over to privately managed something?
To a maintenance
Correct.
district. Yes.
So who is that privately managed entity then?
So Jamboree will be maintaining the frontage of Meridian,
Okay.
right? And then Fifth Street West Property Management. We also have Jamboree here to maybe answer your questions there.
No.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Yeah, so we would privately, well, Fifth Street is private, so we would maintain that. And then it's just the frontage along Meridian, landscape and sidewalks that would need to be maintained. So we would enter into a maintenance agreement with the city for that.
Okay. Is there anything else that the CFD currently covers?
No, my understanding is it would just
No,
be that.
the CFDs are generally for the city itself, and in this case,
Yeah.
utilizing the maintenance agreement would be more efficient and beneficial for both parties.
Okay, but so, I mean, it's not a citywide CFD.
Not in this case.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just, so what
Yeah.
we're saying is that we're going to take an
Just for
existing,
this
CFD that covers this area, and we're going to carve out this
Correct,
property.
sir.
And those maintenance responsibilities will then be shifted through a maintenance agreement with the management company and Jamboree? Or-
Yeah, Jamboree, we have a limited partnership that will be, or is formed for this property. So the maintenance agreement would be between the city and the limited partnership.
Okay, and then the limited partnership will be in part funded through the revenue received from the rentals?
Yeah, there's operating income, but it's again very restricted because it's 100% affordable.
Yeah, understood. Okay. Okay, thank you. That answers my questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, I'm going to go this way. No questions? Commissioner Garcia? Okay, Commissioner Galante? Commissioner Pratt?
The utilities sparked my attention too because of what I do for a living. I'm an electrician, and I work on both sides of the meter. So just to be clear, when we're talking about not undergrounding our utilities, are we talking about existing transmission lines that lead up to the vicinity of the property will remain overhead? Or are we saying that we are going to be doing overhead service drops to the new to the new property? I mean, because there are national electrical codes that have to be abided by. And
Yeah, Commissioner Pratt, I think, is the former. So the utility lines would not be undergrounded. And this is not the first time we have kind of faced this particular issue. The only thing is it's the first time it's been used, a concession is being used to deviate from that requirement. Typically, if you cannot underground utilities, you pay an in lieu fee towards future undergrounding. We have a situation whereby Caltrans and Edison were doing a project in the same area. Caltrans was just going to put new power poles, and our code says underground utilities. Well, Caltrans is saying, Edison is saying, we're not going to do that. We're not going to put a new power pole and new lines and then have it undergrounded. And Caltrans is actually working in that same area. So I think the resolution in that particular instance is not to underground the utilities because we're getting new power poles and new utility lines, but there's an in lieu payment into a pot where for future undergrounding should that occur. So
I think I'm going to just put this because I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying. So I've got power poles here. They stop here, and there's a piece of property over here. So we're not going to do a drop from this power pole onto the new property, right? I mean, to approach the property, it would go underground, I would imagine, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be undergrounding all the utilities on site. And then there are existing power poles. I believe it's 6 on site that will be removed that are serving the existing properties. So we're asking not to underground along Meridian and along the north side of the site because those serve, you know, all the way up and down Meridian as well as the single family homes to the north of us. So that would be A, cost prohibitive, but B, very very hard to manage and get all those customers to agree.
Right. It would cause mad disruption.
Yes.
Okay. So the brand new property is not going to have a bunch of
Correct.
no,
No,
sticking on the top of it.
absolutely not. Yeah.
Thanks.
There is one existing power pole that will remain on the south west corner, but that serves the commercial to the south.
Commissioner Carloni?
How many power poles in front of the property?
Our site plan has 3 in front of the property on Meridian.
And then how many on Fifth Street?
Fifth Street, I believe there's 6 currently along Fifth Street.
That's in your, from PL to PL?
Correct. That will be removed as
Okay,
part
so-
of the
so
development.
typically, 'cause I do this every day. Typically, what's ever in front of your property, you have to underground. City requires it. We're doing it all the time. So I have a real hard time saying this project's not going to underground utilities to make the project more attractive. You know, you got to figure out how to create that cost. Maybe you can get a break from Edison or whatever it is, but typically it's about 150 grand per pole. Okay?
Yeah, this also has cable and other utilities.
Right, you have Frontier, you have Spectrum, and they will give you, Frontier and Spectrum will give you credits because you have users in your facility. So we're just finishing up a project in Redlands, and so there's ways to get money back. But I have a real problem with not undergrounding utilities. Every project I've done here in town, the developer always has to underground. There's no way out of it. So,
Yeah, we do
That's
have
my 2
a dry
cents.
utilities consultant that gave a cost proposal of approximately 1.1 million. And so the sources for this development are really tight, and it's very competitive to get our tax credit financing. So that $1.1 million increase would hinder the project from being financially feasible.
somehow you got to figure it out, and you got to do street improvements, right? Curb, gutter.
Yes,
street
we would
pave.
be doing all of that.
You got utilities, water, sewer, so on, upgrades.
And if I may, that would be for normal projects in the city, but this is 100% affordable, so it's going by state law.
I understand
Yes,
that.
sir.
So the problem is with some of these affordable projects is that, yeah, we want affordable, but now you're asking for problems because now you're not beautifying the project by underground utilities. You're not putting in balconies. You're not putting in covered parking for the vehicles. You don't have carports. You're not doing storage. So yeah, it sounds good. We want to do affordable housing, but now you're just stripping this thing down to nothing. So I think the commission needs to really think about this, and is this really good for the city? Or we're going to have another, Waterman Gardens, 25 years from now. So just a thought. Thank you.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia, did you have comments?
I do. I appreciate the presentation. I'm looking at a street view map. So the northwest property line, there's a power pole there. That's Stain. That's like right at property line with that residential. And then that one's going, and the one on the southwest property line adjacent to that commercial property is the one that's Stain.
Yeah, that's
correct. Okay, yeah, I'm not too versed on affordable or 100% affordable, but there's a lot of concessions here. I'm reading them. I mean, not required to do underground, not required to do project or covered parking, not required to comply with the requirements of 100 cubic feet of private enclosed storage. My guess is that all these concessions or waivers are probably monetary beneficial to the project.
We have to be able to demonstrate the connection between those two in order to qualify under state density bonus law. And I know this is my first time speaking. My name is Kelsey Brewer. I also work with Casey at Jamboree.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's appreciated. These projects are needed for the city, but it's who knows what the future holds. But I do like the project. I like the way it looks. I think it's good for that area. It'll beautify that area. But there's a lot of things that are being waived, or the concessions. There's a lot.
Commissioner Garcia, that is the case. In this particular instance, state law kind of dictates or gives them the latitude to select the concessions and the waivers that are being proposed. But I do understand your position. I had the same reaction when I saw the list of waivers. This is a affordable project, and they get a lot of benefits.
Understood. I'm looking at the setbacks going from 10 feet to 20, or from 20 to 10. Just a question for Jamboree: are these the only type of projects you guys entertain building, or? You guys do other type of projects?
Yeah, so we're a 501c3 nonprofit affordable housing developer. So we've built about 11,000 affordable units across the state of California. We're all the way south in San Diego, all the way up north, helping rebuild after Chico fires. So we build seniors, we build for families, we build for veterans, we build for kind of everybody that's not served by the traditional housing market, but we are a 100% affordable housing developer.
You guys would consider yourself experts in this field, right?
You know, I wouldn't say that for maybe us individually, but absolutely as a company, we actually just celebrated our 35th anniversary. So yes, we're very, very good at what we do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Daley?
Thank you. I think staff had a comment, and I'll
Yeah, one more
hold them
comment.
till that.
And I will say that they are experts. That is why we decided to go with them. And this isn't atypical for affordable housing developments. I do know that you brought up Waterman Gardens, but Waterman Gardens is also an 80-year-old project. I mean, that's things inevitably with time is what's going to happen. And that's why we're taking all the same process as what we're doing with Jamboree, is we're doing the new phases for Arrowhead Grove is what it's called now. But it's also bringing much needed affordable housing. They're bringing a community center to help with more supportive services. They're bringing in a daycare. So, I mean, because of all the additional funding, because they are a 501(c)(3) that allows them, it brings in more community service for that area, on Waterman Gardens specifically. But this isn't atypical for affordable housing developments.
Commissioner Daley?
Thank you. I appreciate all this, and you know, I think it's a great project, and I would like to see it go forward. And I recognize, you know, you got to make a deal pencil. You got to make the project work. But it occurs to me that if the developer is not going to proceed with the undergrounding of the lines on Meridian, then perhaps, since the city is a partner in this, we work to have the city take the lead on the costs of undergrounding these overhead lines. Well, I mean, if we're going to give money to the project, you know, I mean, that's because, you know, this is a great project. It looks beautiful. We need the housing. It crushes on RENA, which is, this is somewhat my world, and I'm kind of blown that we're going above and beyond RENA numbers. Like, all of that's fantastic. So I don't want like little things to kill the whole deal, but at the same time, like, undergrounding utilities kind of needs to be the direction all development goes. And if the developer is unable to do that, which I understand, right? I get that. Seems to me the city has resources, and the city should prioritize, you know, initiating this.
So yes, the city does have some resources, but we do not have unlimited resources. The money that we are, a chunk is the land that we are donating. We've actually been cobbling together funds just to fill some of the financing gap that the project has developed. And I understand, like, it's easy to say, oh, just cover the costs, but there's so many other factors that contribute to this cost, because we have federal funding coming in, labor compliance, the relocation plan. You now have to do a federal relocation plan because the city's coming in with money. That contributes to the cost. All these factors make the project, I just asked them because I couldn't remember off the top of my head. We're at approximately $70 million. So as we have been working, everything has been to bring down the cost of the project, and the city is, I have looked at high and low and all the money that we can contribute. And if it is possible, when I go back to city council, if we can bring in more money, we will, but I don't know that it's going to be sufficient enough to alleviate all the waivers and concessions.
Commissioner Daley, if I may just kind of chime in. So currently, anything related to undergrounding of utilities is a cost that is tied to development, and the developers pay for that. In instances where circumstances do not allow them to pay, they pay an in lieu fee towards future undergrounding of the utilities. And the Public Works Department is directly involved in that particular effort. So what I can do is speak with the Public Works Department and see whether or not in the capital improvement plans that the city has, whether or not undergrounding utilities is a cost that the city can bear in places where it's not feasible for developers to do that. But not all developers would qualify, unfortunately, because they would have to be 501c, provide low-income housing, et cetera, et cetera. So,
First, I think we have to get away from in lieu fees because in my experience, the city is not tracking them.
I know.
The money is not being used. So to keep throwing out in lieu fees is not an answer. And then the city has to pay double for the project
If we
because
don't-
we have
yeah.
to pay prevailing wage.
Yes.
So to say in lieu fees that's not an answer.
I know.
To
but that is where it's either in lieu fee or impact fee. So that's basically where we are as far as those programs are concerned. Now, depending on who you talk to in the Public Works Department, they would tell you in lieu fee. Others would say making an impact fee. I think it would be a lot cleaner if it was just an impact fee.
and
but-
I've asked for those in lieu fees and when projects are going to be done with that in lieu fee money.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I've been asking for it for 2 years.
Part of the problem is we can't even track them.
Correct.
And depending on what kind of fee we collect, if we don't use them within 5 years, we have to give them back.
I think the city attorney hasn't given an exact opinion on that.
Yeah. Well,
Yet.
the law is really clear though. If it's an in lieu fee, you can only use it in particular circumstances.
Correct.
And if you collect it and you don't spend it within
Such
5 years,
as Fifth Street,
you
development on Fifth Street.
you have to give
But
the money back. So,
That's, I don't think
I
in
mean,
lieu fee is the right.
Yeah.
The right solution for this
I mean,
project.
So just
Close
real
enough.
quick, because we are working on some of the fees, development impact fees, entitlement fees, but the housing division will be tracking that. We will have agreements in place with Jamboree, and we will take those agreements for execution to city council. So it will be booked as a loan to the city on any of the fees that we are working with them now. So it will be tracked through housing, not necessarily through planning or building. and
I
safety.
understand that, but housing doesn't have authority over finance. And so what finance chooses to do with that money at any given time, finance can.
No, that's not accurate. So the money that we're giving, as I said, will have a strict regulatory and promissory note and a loan agreement, which will dictate how the money has to come in, how we will put it
Right.
back into the finance coffers. So we've let the finance know, and it's booked with finance as an asset. So
Sure.
it's not, you can't randomly just say, oh, they don't owe it, or, hey, you don't have it.
Sure. To Commissioner Daly's point, is there a menu of other in lieu is there the menu of other concessions that might equal up towards an undergrounding fee that maybe we can pick and choose from and say, we would like the undergrounding, but we'll give you XYZ concessions? Are there other concessions to look at?
I mean, that might be up to Jamboree. We also have a density bonus agreement that is being drafted. If you see, it's an attachment in your staff reports. It's just an example. It's just a draft, but this will beholden them to whatever's agreed in the DBA. And I think she had something to say too.
Yeah. So the reason I got up is because I'm our density bonus law person. It's not a fun law. It's very confusing and doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's from the state of California. So the way that density bonus works is the menu of concessions that we can kind of keep talking about. Those are your development standards. You have certain development standards that you've published that if we are able to come back and say we would like a concession or a waiver, there's a certain amount that we're entitled to under the law. The city would have to demonstrate that we cannot show that there's a demonstrable decrease in our costs by providing us that concession in order to deny it to us. Kind of the second part of your question
I'm
about...
sorry, can you say that again?
Sure. You would have to demonstrate that we are not showing a demonstrable decrease in cost to not grant us that concession. So if we couldn't come back to you with Casey's report that says, hey, this development standard's going to add 1.2 million in project costs. If we were just kind of willy-nilly asking for it, then you would be able to deny it. But under state density bonus law, once we ask for that concession, as long as there's a cost and there's not a demonstrable impact to public health and safety, the city has to grant that. And then kind of to the second part of the question, unfortunately, most of the other development standards would not equal kind of that higher amount. It is the big price tag, which is why you all want to see it have happen. And it's one of the reasons that they grant it regularly as a concession to affordable housing, because of how much of an impact it would have on the financial feasibility of the projects. Unlike market rate, who could maybe absorb $1 million increase to their costs by increasing their rents, our rents are determined by the state of California and HCD. So there's really no additional ways to bring equity into the project other than waiting more and more years to go and do more and more funding applications.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Commissioner Pratt?
I would just like to say that that it's difficult because, you know, without seeing a proposed utility plan, we're kind of speculating about what we're even talking about here. I mean, it's I can look at the site photos and you know, pretty much surmise what we're talking about here, but without some sort of a proposed drawing, I know that we're not at that part where, you know, at the point where the utility, where Edison has become involved. But, you know, if there were some sort of a proposed drawing, I mean, there may, something may arise where you know, the utility may compel the developer to do certain things that may ease some of our concerns. So we're speculating right now until we see a site plan, you know.
Commissioner Carloni?
So this project's probably what, 75, 80 million dollars to build?
Very close, 70.
Okay, so you're talking 1.5–2% of the project cost for underground utility. So us as a city, we need to hold a standard. We can't have a developer down the street undergrounding utilities, and then 5 blocks over, you guys get to not underground utilities. That's why we're in the mess that we're in throughout the whole city. We need to be consistent. And I know there's concessions that you guys can take, but we should be able to say, well, you got it underground. Come up with the 1.5% somehow and underground. That's all I got to say.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia? Okay. Commissioner Daly?
Thank you. I've been listening, and from time to time, there are state laws that come into play that have a way of binding decisions. And so it occurs to me that we're kind of in a similar situation. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve staff recommendation.
Is there a second? I'll go ahead and second.
Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
I'm going to say yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
I'm going to say no just because I don't believe we have enough information.
Commissioner Carloni?
No.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia?
Yes.
Just give me a moment. Vote passes 6-2.
Thank you. Good luck with the project. Item number 8.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize in advance. Woke up with a sore throat, so if you hear me pause or cough a little bit, again, I apologize. I would like to go ahead and distribute a updated version of the PowerPoint as I did make recent changes, okay? Thank you, Angeline. Additionally, before we begin, my name is Gabriela Sosa, and I will be presenting item number 8, which is variance 25-01. I would like to note, for the record, I made a correction to the resolution 2025-063, specifically section 1, the environmental determination, bullet point number 2. It reads section 15303 for new construction and conversion of small structures, and it should actually read section 15305 class 5 for minor alterations to land use limitations. Once more, this is directly for the resolution, page 2, for environmental determination. So the project that I have before you is a variance, a request to allow 3 deviations to our current residential development standards. As you may already know, every development has standards that they have to abide by to begin any development. In this case, for the residential zone, there are 3 development standards that we would not be able to meet to develop a single-family residence. One of the deviations that we are requesting is a reduction in the side street setback from 15 feet to 5 feet. Second is a reduction of the driveway depth from 24 feet to 5 feet. And lastly is an increase in the lot coverage going from a maximum of 35% to a 43.3%. The lot currently measures approximately 4,285 square feet. And the proposed single-family residence that we're requesting these deviations for would measure approximately 1,394 square feet. This property is located in a residential suburban zone, which would allow development of single-family residences.
Can I pause you just for a second? My computer timed out, so it's asking for a password. Thank you. Oh, thank you. No one's ever showed that to me. I got it. I can figure it out. Thank you, yeah.
Go ahead, Gabriela.
Thank you. You can see by our aerial map that this property is surrounded by existing single-family residences to the east, to the north, to the west, and to the south. Current site conditions display a vacant lot, uneven grass, and accumulation of debris. One of the pictures is facing northwest, one is facing southwest, and the last one displays a beautiful sun, but of course, additional debris and overgrown grass facing southeast. As previously mentioned, the current development standards for single-family residence require a 15-foot street side setback for corner lots, a 25-foot driveway depth, and a maximum lot coverage of 35%. The surrounding properties average roughly 7,115 square feet as compared to the 4,285 square foot that this property measures. Additionally, I would like to point that the lot width currently stands at 30 by 142 feet, whereas the development standards require for residential suburban properties width of 60 feet by 100 feet. So this is half the required. Granting your approval of the variance will allow some privileges enjoyed by the neighbors in the area, preservation of permitted land use, rehabilitation of the vacant lot, enhancement of the appearance, and of course, compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood, with the surrounding properties. Without the approval, all we have left is a vacant lot utilized due to the size and of course, the shape limitations. This request is more of a necessity rather than a special privilege. On our site plan, I went ahead and highlighted the three deviations that we are requesting as part of this variance. Highlighted in green, we have the setback. This is the corner lot. If you are familiar with the area, you know that West 6th Street is a busy street. So anybody who drives through that area sees a vacant lot with debris and overgrown grass, as mentioned. The setback depicts the 5 foot that they are requesting that would initially or would normally be a 15-foot requirement. Highlighted in yellow, we have the 5 foot, the 5 foot driveway depth that they are proposing as compared to the required 24 foot. And then highlighted in blue, we have the lot coverage. So adding up the single family with the attached garage, we're exceeding the 35% by approximately 8%. Leaving us with a total of 43.3%. In our elevations, you have a visual of what this house is planning to look like by the developer. We have the one that I wanted to point out the most or highlight would be the north elevation, which is at the very bottom. This is the view that you will see once driving down West 6th Street. Currently, as previously stated, is a vacant lot. But if approved, if this variance were to be approved with the 3 requested deviations, we would have something similar to what they're showing on their north elevation. So with that, staff recommends Planning Commission to adopt resolution number 2025-063, finding the project categorically exempt pursuant to section 15305, minor alterations and land use limitations in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving variance 25-01 based on the findings of fact and subject to the recommended conditions of approval. With that, I conclude my presentation, and I, as well as the applicant, are here if you have any questions.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 8:39 p.m. and I have one speaker, Mr. Casey Harris. Oh, excuse me, that was for item number 7? Yeah. Okay, got it. I have no public speakers for this item. Is there any questions or comments by the commission for staff? Commissioner Ivan Garcia.
I had a question for the applicant. Was there an option to build another story to maintain the setbacks and to remain within the lot coverages? Was that considered? Going
No.
2 stories?
We never made, or considered that.
And then for city staff, what is the maximum height for RS use zoning?
You're
Commissioner Garcia will be 2 stories, about 30 feet. What you would probably notice in that area is most of the homes are bungalows that may be one of the deciding factors as to why they haven't considered going second story. Also, it could be a cost issue as well. I really don't know.
Are there any other comments or questions by the commission? Commissioner Daly?
Just a question, on the driveway setback piece of this, or the driveway depth, excuse me, going from 24 feet to 5. And then when I look at the picture, the southeast facing picture, I can see where the driveway is. And then it looks like it'll cross over an existing sidewalk. And then there's the gate. So is the gate an automatic gate? It'll be an automatic gate? Okay.
So what I thought, Commissioner, was that, since, thank you. Since, we have 2 streets, which is 6 and, Pico, that we would use Pico as our frontage of the property to meet those 20 feet. And then the rear setbacks, and then have the 5 feet things. Now, I didn't know that you required it on the corner lot, that it would be 15 from that corner.
Yeah.
On that other street. See, we have the options of 2 streets.
Yeah, I was just, just using the existing drive. I don't have any problem with it necessarily, just I would be a little concerned if the butt end of the car is sticking out of that drive if you're waiting for the gate to open. And I just heard that 6th Street's fairly busy there, so just trying to, think through that a little bit, that's all.
Anything further? Hearing nothing further, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 8:42 p.m. and entertain a motion. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
I'll second it.
Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes?
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
No.
Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Commissioner Carloni?
No.
Commissioner Orlando Garcia?
Yes.
Vote passes 6-2.
Thank you. Do we have any planning commissioner reports or announcements? Commissioner Garcia?
I just wanted to mention, we're with We Are the Change nonprofit here in the city. We're working on a Kindle beautification project in the city on Kindle and 48th Street. We're going to be out there Saturday planting plants, so inviting city residents, city staff, anyone that's interested in coming out. We're just giving back to the city, trying to help beautify the image of our city because we care, and we're not just sitting on the sidelines complaining. We're trying to bring out the positive in our city and be an example and lead by example and doing actions. So you are all welcomed this coming Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll be out there volunteering.
Commissioner, do you want to put your Instagram out there so people could follow and get more information?
Let's see, the Instagram that we have for We Are the Change is...
Yeah, I think if you just look up We Are the Change.
Yeah,
you'll be
We
able
Are
to
the
find it.
Change SB is the Instagram if you guys
Thank
would
you.
like to follow us.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioner reports?
I don't have a report. I have a question. What can we do to get our commissioner packets and our agendas earlier and have time to research this, man? Because I feel like that thing just got dumped on us and we did not have time to prepare. And I don't blame anybody for their vote because we all felt like we had to act. We have to understand that if we don't have enough information, we don't feel prepared to make an educated vote, we shouldn't be compelled to. I don't know if we were, I don't think we were, but I'm just saying, I mean, give us a week, to consider these things, because when we have had time, I personally and I know Commissioner Galande has personally taken time to go to these sites, and I would have been able to make a much more informed opinion about what we were discussing tonight. And you can't go on here and glance at a photo of some power poles and look at a piece of paper and think that we have any kind of a grasp of what we're discussing.
I believe the packets are posted by law, they have to post them 72 hours. That's what the law, so we have at least 72 hours to go online and view the packet. Now, I'm sorry?
I don't think we got 72.
What, posted online, posted. So that means we have to take the initiative to go online and look at the agenda and the packet. To Commissioner Pratt's comment, we are not getting email copies of the agendas in a timely manner. I got the packet yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It might have even been today. The last Planning Commission meeting, I never got an email. I believe the one before that, I didn't get an email, and I've mentioned it to staff saying maybe it's my end, maybe I'm not getting it, but also my fellow commissioners are not getting it.
Madam Chair, I did get some comments regarding not getting, in fact, I think Commissioner Lopez also never got anything. I'm used to a system whereby we either deliver these things to your residences or we mail them ahead of time so that you have the hard copy. But what San Bernardino does is, you do it by email, which is kind of risky.
If I could give you some historical context
in technology.
Excuse me, if I could give you some historical context to that. That was because of the bankruptcy.
Okay.
The department no longer printed
Right.
and delivered packets to commissioners. That's what necessitated that.
Okay. What I can tell you is that we will work more diligently to make sure you get these things ahead of time. I totally agree with Commissioner Pratt's comments. When you have this many items and they're not all the same, that you have to be versed on them, and then you're being tasked to come and make a decision. You want to have some time to actually digest that information. So we'll do the best we can. And if that means not having as many items on an agenda, maybe we have 1, 2, or 3, that would give you give you more time to review them. Maybe that's what we would do until we figure out how we can solve this, if it's a technology issue or just, because I know that we sent those out on Thursday of last week.
To the commissioners?
I think so.
You know, or you think? Because you said, I know we did, and then you said.
Well, those things have to go out on Thursday. So those things have to go out on Thursday. So
Correct.
And Saturday was the 6th. You got it on Monday, the 8th. So I don't know what happened, but I will look into it.
I have one more procedural question, please.
Give Steph a minute.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
So, going forward, if the commission is inclined to approve the project, I mean, could we say, yes, we want to allow staff to move forward with the planning process, but circle back with creative funding ideas, what have you, whatever we have to do to address the one thing? Because I hate to, hold up a whole project for one sticking point, but I think it's an important one, right?
Commissioner Pratt, this particular one is a strange one, and I don't know if you're going to see many of these, going down in the future. This was it still remains a work in progress, but certain things have to happen in order for the funding sources to click. So, and that is why, we are where we are. I think Trina had mentioned to you that there's still some funding things that need to be looked into. But there's a lot of deviations. I mean, a good example is the last item we just had, variance. We would spell, everybody else has to apply for some kind of deviation. These folks get waivers and concessions. I mean, that's just the nature of these kinds of developments. But moving forward, I will make sure that we try to improve, work with IT to see whether or not there's an issue with delivery of these items to you through the email system. I think mailing them would probably not work, because if we have to get them out on Thursday and it takes a couple of days for USPS to deliver them, you'll be getting them maybe 2 days or 1 day before the hearing itself. But we'll do something about that.
I did receive an email from IT today saying if the city was able to email me. I am getting emails when they're sent. It's just that it's not getting sent, or it's always a different person and it goes into our junk email. So we have to search that way. But when I do a search of PC packets, they're not there.
Chantel, do you want to comment on how these things are sent and when they are sent and so on and so forth, please? Thank you.
Yes, so we did notice that there was an issue with sending out the packets. I do want to apologize about that. We did have a change in staff, so tasks were shifted around. So we're getting on that. Moving forward, they will be sent out. So the packets are posted the Thursdays before the meeting. So starting from now on, we will get those out to you when we post the packets. When we tried to do the group email, they were getting bounced back. So we did reach out to IT. Now we have that cleared, so we will be able to get those packets out to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioner? I think you need to go to a mic.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just wanted to say that with the upgrade to IT, we had a lot of issues going on. So I wasn't able to even get in my emails for 2 weeks. So I was backtracking and going in there and seeing stuff that developers or Mr. Elliott had sent me and I never responded to. So it has been an ongoing issue. So we have to authenticate through our personal phones, right? Or Microsoft calls us on our landline in our office. So for me, I would do that and then it was saying, sorry, we can't connect you. So this was a big issue with Permits Plus, with the emails. So there were some bugs that we have been trying to work out. I was going to suggest maybe if we had hard copies available too for pickup. If you didn't get let's say if you wanted to get a day earlier, maybe we can have some hard copies up at the counter. If you want to come in and ask, that planner or just say, hey, look, I know there's a planning commission. Can we get that packet a little bit earlier? Because I know a lot of this is kind of dropped on us. To your point, this Jamboree project was a fast mover because of the funding. So if they wouldn't have got approved, they wouldn't have made it to the December 17th meeting and the project would have been totally dead. So these are the kind of things that it's just that the kind of projects housing brings forward, they're fast moving projects that depend on funding, and it's always us that are catching up.
Yeah, because with me, I was kind of on the fence with it because it sounded like their concern was around the cost to do the underground utilities. And as I was thinking more, were there ways that there could have been some cost sharing, like with Rule 20? Would that have worked with this one?
So for any other project, those types would be feasible, those types of solutions. But because this is 100% affordable and they're granted those concessions and waivers, it turns into housing law. So at a point, we're painted into a corner, right?
Yep.
So if we would have said, no, we don't want this project because of the undergrounding of the utilities. I mean, just a said lawyer would have stepped in, and it would have turned into a fiasco, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it is kind of unfair in that position to where you are seeing it last minute. But me, I've been working hard for the last 2.5 months just to get this bad boy going, right? So it's kind of like a domino effect. It starts to pressure down on everybody. So I don't think, this is the first type of project we've had these concessions and waivers ever. I've been here 11 years. This is the first time I've ever worked on one of these projects. Do you think we're going to get another one in the next 10? I really, really doubt it. Jamborees, they do a couple projects here and there in certain cities. They may come back, they may not, but it's highly doubtful.
One more question, and I'll shut up. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think I was just kind of coming back to the point around just getting, because I went back to my email to see when I got notified that the agenda was posted, and I got that email yesterday. And so I don't think that providing hard copies, at City Hall is a very viable solution. I also don't think that it's unreasonable that when the agenda gets posted in the, 72 hours prior to the meeting happening, that's got to happen, that we can't be notified, even if we can't get the document itself, but just a notification that the thing has been published, because I unfortunately missed the last meeting, and so I was not sure if we were having today's meeting or not, and then it wasn't until I got the email like, oh yeah, it's happening. But that's my own problem. But neither here nor there should be the ability to notify us when at least it's posted, so that we can have a chance to take a look at it. Because that's, I mean, I was close to this wasn't necessarily even the Jamboree item, right? The first item where there was the back and forth between the applicant, to me, that probably could have gotten resolved, before it came here, but it didn't. And so, it's an awkward situation. We work through it, but anyway, I'll stop talking now. Go ahead, Brandon, back to your question.
Do you have something else before
I'm
Pratt
not
goes?
really going to say, I agree, they should be posted, and we should be notified, but I will tell you, I did go online on Friday, and I did see it. So I just make a mental note to myself that
Right.
I have to go out there. I know that the meeting's going to be on Tuesday, right?
Right.
And I know that we have 72 hours.
yep.
So I just go and I check it, and I'm holding people accountable. So if they don't have it, then I send an email to Gabriel, and Gabriel always responds very quickly. So and I haven't had any issues with myself personally seeing it, because I just know I have to do it myself, and I just go out there and look for it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pratt, your other comment?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, so this does or does not have to go to council from here?
It does go to the council.
It does, right? Okay, thanks.
Any other commissioner comments or?
I have a comment. I'm just going to piggyback on Ivan and the We Are the Change project. I will tell you, Councilwoman Kim Kanas, this was one of her many ideas around Thrive and really bringing the community together and taking ownership and accountability for our community. This particular project, it really resonates with me in the sense that people have come together from all over to really get this project moving. This is funded by the community, literally. So I think this could be possibly one of many opportunities for the city where people in the community will feel a sense of pride. I will tell you, I've been out there for the last 3 days covered in dirt, okay? And what I found to be very moving is that a lot of the volunteers are coming in from other cities, from Fontana, from Riverside, from everywhere else but San Bernardino. So we need to bring our people together to join forces around this particular project and in anything in the city. If you see dirt, pick it up. My gosh, don't wait for the city to do it. Just do something about it, right? If you see something, then just do something. But I will share a quick story. So on Sunday, we were out there and it was dark. There was no lights because people have taken the copper out of the lights. So it's pitch black. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they were trying to lay cement, of which Ivan, Luis, and I think another gentleman, 2 other guys, had lifted 6,300 pounds of concrete that day. That's a lot. And so there was a gentleman on like a little toot-toot. I think, is that what you call him? What was it? It's like this ice cream truck, this guy on a bike. Okay? He comes out there and he allows the folks to use his light on his bike to illuminate the site. And then we all used his thing. He had a hand flashlight, and we used our cell phones in order to get the job done. And I say that because it just shows the Ivan and everyone else, their ability just to get things done no matter the obstacles. And they just kept pushing forward. And it's just been really humbling for me to see this. And I want to tell you, Ivan, thank you so much for really helping to take the lead on this one as well. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there a director's report?
Madam Chair, yes, there is. There are quite a few items on there. Just as a word of caution is that none of these items have an agenda. So when we discuss them, we don't want to go into too much of a detail. But I'll start with something really simple, which is the general plan update. We took a general plan update staff report to the City Council at the last City Council meeting. The expectation is that we would get the general plan draft by the end of this year, and that has been made clear to the consultants. We would also get the downtown specific plan at the same time. What we will not get is the development code, which might be, be thrown into the spring, and also the draft EIR that accompanies the code, the specific plan, and the general plan update itself. So what does that mean? It means that when we get the general plan and we decide we're going to have, a little charrette here and there and maybe public outreach, that we do not go into such a detail that would modify the project in any way because it has an effect on the EIR, et cetera, which is not to say that you can't touch them or you can't say anything about them, but just recognize that if the push is, let's get this thing done, we bring it forward, we don't want to go back and say. So my vision for this is familiarize you with what you did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or whenever it is the GPAC met or any of these other groups met. This is what you told us then. This is what we brought in front of you. And so that there is consistency. So that is the plan. I am waiting as the same as you are for this document to touch my hands. So that's the general plan update. The second one is, and I'm gonna need Angeline, can you distribute the truck route map? We also, if you recall, we brought a truck route to you, the Planning Commission, when we met at Feldheim, and that particular truck route map went to the City Council at the last City Council meeting. Now, the City Council modified the map. I'm just kind of notifying you that they did. Now, in this 11:17 version that you see, the red lines are the lines that remain from the original truck route map. The pinkish-looking lines were all the routes, portions of the routes that were deleted. I did not want truck routes on Highland. I did not want truck routes in a lot of different places. So we are taking this back to the City Council tomorrow at a special meeting, whereby they will review this, and then they will make a determination as to what the final version of a truck routes will be. So that's on a truck route. The Redlands Motel 6, I do have handouts, but I don't know if you have the appetite to kind of touch more paper this evening, or if you just want me to. But I do have handouts for the Redlands and the Ostrom's Way. And they're not all of them are stapled, but they are organized in such a way that they can be distributed to members of the Planning Commission. So I kind of arrange them like that, yeah. And just make sure it says Redlands Boulevard or Ostrom's Way. I think you have the Ostrom's Way one, and if you have the Redlands one in there.
If we could go back to the truck route really quick. I
Yes,
had
ma'am.
asked for the sensitive uses to be placed.
I say that again, ma'am?
The sensitive uses to be placed on the truck map.
Yes. So on the bigger version of it, you would see that this particular one shows you where the industrial zones are and where the
Yes.
residential zones are, and we will add that sensitive uses because if we put a dot on there, it's kind of hard to see.
Okay.
So we're working on a 42 by 42 inch map that would have those land uses on there. Regarding the, is that the Ostroms or the Redlands one you have, Angeline? Okay, regarding the Ostroms, What you have in front of you is a proposal. Well, I wouldn't really call it a proposal, but a response to the direction given by the Planning Commission when we had the meeting at Feldheim. You wanted some deadlines when they had to do certain things. They have come back and they have, given you what you have in front of you, and there's a letter attached to it. Basically, they are not able to meet, that time period that was provided to them at the Planning Commission meeting. They're saying, we might want to go. Do you have Ostrom's or yeah? On the Ostrom's one, it's not even going to come to their radar until 2 weeks after they do the Redlands one. So maybe I should have given you the Redlands ones first. And what they have proposed on the Redlands one, I might as well just give them to you as well. These are the copies for the Redlands one. I'm gonna, you can, let me save one of them, and you can take the rest of it. So what you have with the Redlands one is they identified what the task is, which is similar to what you have, and then the results of what they have been able to accomplish so far. I mean, I have to tell you that we are having regular communication with them on the Redlands one, and they are willing to cooperate, but they are saying that the Illumination Foundation is kind of driving the schedule at this particular time, and it seems like they are not ready to meet, not that they don't want to, but are not able to meet those deadlines that the Planning Commission imposed when we had the meeting at the Feldheim Library, which is a different scenario from the Ostroms. The NHHA is gone, but Mr. Patel, who owns the motel, also owns the one on Redlands Boulevard, and he has hired an architect to work on the Redlands Boulevard project, and they need an architect because of the type of changes that were made to that facility. I have Mr. Ariano, our building official here, who has been in close communication with the representative of Mr. Patel on the Redlands Boulevard and on the Ostrom's Way as well. So Redlands first. Once they have figured out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, then the Ostrom's Way issue is still going to come. Now, the one difference between Redlands and Ostrom's is with the Redlands Boulevard, the C of O is critical because they might want to bring back the recoup care to that facility. With the Ostrom's Way, the recoup care is gone, and you have revoked the conditional use permit for recuperative care at that location. So the certificate of occupancy is less of a, how should I put it? It's not that it's not important, but it's less urgent because now you don't have a land use in there that's triggering that change in occupancy. The change in occupancy was related to bringing the recoup facility into the building, and with the Redlands Boulevard location, same issue, but I think the Illumination Foundation intends to come back. They're not there at this particular time. They have vacated because of all the work that needs to be done, but they will return at some point to that location. Therefore, the C of O becomes critical, and making all those safety safety requirements and fire sprinklers, etc., is very important in that particular scenario. So they have given us some not very definitive timeline, rather than, what we get from them is just to give us a range of dates in which these things are going to be possible. So you have those two things in front of you. There's a letter that is attached to that allows you to see exactly what it is that is being proposed. And then, I give you a few minutes to digest that information.
On Redlands Boulevard, did the, excuse me? First, your mic isn't on.
You're asking us to go over this and then make a decision on?
No, the decision was made at the last planning commission meeting.
It's an update.
I do have a question, though. For the Redlands one, the applicant agreed to submit the base drawings by 11:30. Did that take place?
No, in fact, Jerry, do you want to address that? I think they had changed the date. Is Mr. Valdivia here?
Thought that date was set at the planning commission.
Yes, that date was set by
And
the
they
planning
agreed
commission.
to it at the planning commission.
They did, and I think there are some extenuating circumstances that did not make that feasible. Jerry?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Yes, as Director Elliott was mentioning, I had been in close contact with the applicant and also Mr. John Valdivia, who is present, who is representing the property owners. The original date was, yes, for initial submittal was November 30th. However, there was a change in the submittal date. The new submittal date is listed on the updated schedule for December 30th at the end of this month.
Be impacted than this entire sheet, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. This whole thing needs to be redone.
Why wasn't it submitted when the date that they agreed to?
Mr. Valdivia, do you want to address that question?
And can it be this is not agendized. Are we allowed to discuss this?
You're asking the question, so
I'm asking the attorney.
Let's keep it brief.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, council, commissioners. The matter before you is the roadmap and the timeline that we gave a verbal agreement and commitment to. It is in keeping with the city staff. We met with city staff on 2 occasions. We provided those updates to them. There are some technical issues. We submitted yesterday some preliminary base drawings, so we're about a week behind, and we intend to complete that by the end of the month.
Does the commission have any other comments or questions? I'm disappointed because these timelines were agreed. And we said if the timelines were not agreed, we would start the revocation process.
Madam Chair, and I do remember that both Mr. Valdivia and our former employee here stood at the podium and addressed your concerns and give us assurances. Now, I do understand there are sometimes extenuating circumstances, but in this particular case, I don't know specifically, but I think part of that driving force might be a combination of the property owner, Mr. Patel, and also the prospective tenants, which is the Illumination Foundation. So
It doesn't matter who if it's the hotel or if it's Illumination. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. Furthermore, I think this has been a continuous pattern of having delays on things. So I just have a feeling this might just continue with different excuses, technical this, technical that, and then where are we going to be 6 months, 12 months down the line?
Commissioner Galante, that's a very good line of thinking. I think now that they have seen your reaction to not meeting that deadline, and they've given us another timeline, which is by the end of the year. If they don't meet that, I think it's very clear. It will be very clear to you that maybe there is no intention to comply, And I think you're sending a message to them that when they stand up there and make promises, that they have to keep it, unfortunately.
I would like to make a motion to agendize this for revocation.
Chairwoman, let me give you my legal opinion on that.
Please.
Different from the NHHA scenario where they were kind of thumbing their noses at all of you, not coming to the meeting, saying they had no intention of complying. This is a very different scenario. The goal of any code enforcement citations is for compliance. I don't see a similar scenario here where they have done nothing. They have done something, but a little bit late. That is the commission's right if you want to proceed with that, but I think that it will be a much harder sell for staff and the city to stand behind a decision of revocation based on the behavior that I've seen so far.
Understand. So when deadlines aren't met, there's no accountability. Is that what I hear?
No, that's not what I said.
Okay. So what's the accountability for this?
Well, the accountability is to consider what they have submitted to you, the deadlines. The document, as I read it, is inclusive of the December 30th date. I don't think it has to be pushed back from then in terms of submitting the complete drawings. But
For Redlands Boulevard?
I'm looking at the North San Bernardino one. I think that's the Ostrom's.
Right. So we're talking about the Redlands Boulevard one.
The Redlands doesn't include the December 30th date already?
No.
Okay. So maybe that one does have to be amended. But you were already going to receive another update at your January meeting. You said that at your last meeting. So I would recommend before scheduling a revocation to wait at least until your next meeting in January to see where it is. I think it would be hard to defend a revocation hearing at this time, given that they are moving towards compliance. They've taken active steps. But that is your decision to make.
Understood. So I understood I had a motion. I don't have a second. I'll go ahead and, oh, sorry. I was going to go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'll second it.
Given the information from the city attorney, I was going to withdraw my motion.
Well, we don't know. We don't have any proof that they've been moving forward. Right? I don't see any plans.
They submitted plans just a few days ago.
And we're not reviewing their plans.
Right. So the plans were submitted to Building and Safety?
Yes.
Commissioners, if I may, I did go out and do an inspection, and I did take pictures, and there's no sign of Illumination Foundation out there whatsoever. Where they did have their rooms, where they were using it for their health check-ins, their offices, their security booth, the smoking area, it's all been abandoned. So the only operation out there as of now is the Motel 6. So maybe they didn't on paper, but I guess they did submit yesterday, right? For me to go out there and see the inspection, which I do have the photos, if you all want to see them.
Well, I believe you.
I see they're moving forward.
Yeah, if you inspected
But
and they vacated,
Yes, correct.
then, okay, I'm good.
Mr. Carloni, we noticed the city, consistent with my phone call on 11/24/25 at about 6 p.m. to the director, the status report on the update. It was a phone, it was a verbal. I think the technicality on our lateness, about a week, is we did not have a Title 24 certificate for our windows. We were waiting on that. We were working, I was working, our team was working to obtain that, and it was delayed. That was the only hiccup. We have the rest remaining. It's been submitted. We're in full compliance. The spirit of our response has always been to comply with the code and the building safety. So short of a Title 24 certificate, we had everything ready to go, and we're consistent with that roadmap.
I don't think you could say the spirit has always been there if you were doing work without permits.
Well, that's your interpretation, Chair.
Well, that's the fact.
No, no, it's not.
Oh, you were doing work with permits?
Well, no, our response is that it's been brought to our attention, we're complying with the orders of the city, and that's pretty much it.
Chairwoman, I think we should cut off discussion now. If you want to vote, go right ahead. But again, this is not an agendized item, so I don't want to discuss anymore. We've discussed
Understood.
it substantially already.
Understood. So I'm sorry, to move forward, there was my motion. I would like to withdraw my motion. But there was a second, so do we have to vote on it?
No, you withdrew your motion.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other comments? Can we get these agendized at the next meeting? These updates?
Yes, Madam Chair, we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, motions on this particular one? Is that good? Okay. One more, which is we are currently, we will be starting a code amendment for truck parking in our city. It has become an issue. We are getting quite a lot of applications to just park trucks in our city. Unfortunately, we're caught off guard because we don't have any standards for them in the city. When I look at what other cities are doing, they're asking for the moon and they're getting it. So we are going to implement a process whereby if you just want to park trucks in our city and you're not doing anything else, then we would have rules and regulations regarding that. So look out for that. It's going to be coming to you first with a recommendation going to the city council, and it's going to come very quickly because it looks like we're running out of time. If we don't do this now, we're going to be asking ourselves, what are we doing? Because we have absolutely no regulations, and truck parking has been done under several other aliases, which in my opinion do not apply. So, and the last comment is happy holidays.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, the meeting is adjourned.